90% of the population is sensitive to caffeine. Caffeine makes you angry, depletes your minerals, makes you stressed, blocks receptors. So you don't feel that you're tired, but you are. It's kind of a drug. We fixed all the beverage problems that were out there with our product. All of them. Brad Pitt tried our product on Tuesday and bought it. I was 5 years old. My mom just put me in front of a stage. I was always in front of people. At 20 years old, I was in creative arts, TV. I really thought I was an artist. That's what I gravitated to. Nobody ever told me that I was a business person. Thinking back now, that's who I was always. I had no idea what I was doing. And that's when I started to really look like, who am I? What do I love? I was so glad this project found me. Half a second later, I didn't even tell my husband. I was like, yeah, we're starting a business. That's it. That's exactly it. That was what I was looking for this whole time. I was like so grateful. I was like, this is it. We had to work so hard on getting the product there. I don't know how many million demos everywhere just to try this product. And everybody was like, oh, it's so good. But then they wouldn't buy it again. And I'm like, oh, why? Why is it so hard to make? It's because I'm not knowing something. What is it? I don't know. We've changed the color. We've changed the logo. That makes our clients buy it 100%. It finally was the right packaging, the right price, the right, sparkling, adding a bit of bubbles, all that stuff. Everything just aligns now. And that's how we're seeing. We're in 1,000 stores across Canada. No, we sell about 4 cans a day per store. And we've just launched in the States, so we're not a known brand. In California, we're top 20 beverages. And that's something we should have done more that I, would have done differently, let's say, if I knew. It's easier to ask for money when it's a project than if you actually have sales. So if you go to banks, investors, and all that stuff, and you have a project and an idea and you pitch to them and then they're interested, it's like when you're selling a dream, it's like we know it's going to do this, we know it's going to do that, but then once you have the money, you go ahead and you prove it. But it's hard to prove the other side. You grow 300%. How do I produce enough to go here with the money I had from before? It's not possible. The thing that's always a bit stressful is like money. Like, do I have enough? Can I pay my employees? Everybody takes more profit and then there's whatever's left. There's at least 75-80% of it goes somewhere else. It's not yours. And so how do we make it so that we have enough profit? It's by negotiating. And I tell people networking. It's not just about finding a client. It's about finding all the other partners that you have. Oh, that's the whole thing we always talk about. Big competitor that's more funded, bigger, stronger, faster. Those big companies are soulless. They don't have much of a story to tell. They're owned by billionaires that we don't know who. We have a soul. We're a family. They'll probably be able to push a product faster, but so many times I've seen them try to do that and they failed because they're missing that key ingredient, which we have. The other thing, it's very expensive for a multinational to launch a product. Just launching a new product is millions and millions of dollars just before they actually launch a product. We've launched a product at compared to them, very, very small budget. And that's very interesting for them. And I know this because we were approached. So even if we would have had $1 million in the beginning, we would have spent it on the wrong things because we didn't know. So, it was a good thing that we kind of banged against the wall all the time. It's a chess game. And we're really close to doing okay, checkmate. I think that's our biggest superpower, to be naive.
Welcome. Together, we're going to meet the most singular individuals, entrepreneurs, artists, athletes. No matter where you are in your journey, today's story will give you the opportunity to reflect on your questions and challenge your beliefs. I'm Loris. I love creating product, start businesses, but most of all, I love stories and connecting with the most extraordinary doers. In 2024, I'm going to put in a lot of efforts to level up what I'm offering you. If you love the show, the only thing I'm going to ever ask you is to subscribe and share to your friends. I cannot express how much this helped me bring you the most exceptional guests. Thanks so much. Enjoy the show. Just a clap. It always helped me for the editing. Cool. Thanks a lot, Leila, for being here.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm particularly interested to have you because I'm a product person, right? I love building product. I started by being into the industrial engineering aspect, building physical items, right?
Okay.
But very quickly, I moved to software development. And for the past decades, I miss the feeling of creating something physically, right? And building a physical product, even though like a beverage, is very different from building software, right?
I can imagine.
From the ideation, the development. All that. So it's really what I would like to cover a little bit with you today is trying to understand what does it mean to build something, to create a product, a consumable product, trying to better understand the challenges, the processes around it. Obviously, we're going to talk about a little bit your journey, your motivation, why you are doing all of that. But I really would like to understand how building something from scratch look like.
It's something. It's something for sure. It's I never thought I would do something like this. So, we had to learn from zero to where we are now. And it's been a wonderful journey, but it's been very topsy-turvy.
Yeah.
But, there's no better feeling than the proudness you feel when somebody tries your product or buys your product, or you see them choosing your product over millions of products. In a grocery store, you're like 50,000 products and the person stops and buys your product. It's the most beautiful feeling. Yeah. And now my favorite sound is like, psh, when they open the can, I'm like, exactly. And I hear that at the office every day. The whole office drinks it at the afternoon all the time or with lunch. So I guess that's kind of the benefit of having a physical product is something that is, people carry around, they share with people, exactly. Hey, tried this, it's amazing. Yeah. So our journey was something. We had to learn, first of all, it's food, it's beverage, so it has to be safe. Food engineers, we started to build a recipe at my partner's restaurant, and he's an Italian chef. He was mixing, he did amazing recipes, and we were like, oh, this tastes really good. I think we have something. And he had people try it and they all loved it. They say, this is really refreshing. It's so good. And said, okay, well, how do we scale it? How do we bring it into a packaging that people will want to buy? That, you have 5 seconds in a shelf or in a restaurant to prove that, you're something worth buying. So you have 5 seconds too much, like a split second for people to make that decision to say, okay, I want to try this product. So the packaging is number one, right? It's love at first sight kind of thing. It's like right away when they see the product, they have to be curious. So how do you get that art done perfectly? And then once they open it, do they like the taste? So the taste has to be perfect. The price has to be perfect. All of it has to be right on the X. When we started, we changed bottles 4 times, I think. It was glass bottles. The first one was it, and that was a production thing. The production side couldn't do. We wanted a Snapple bottle, but they couldn't do it. They didn't have the machinery. The first production site we went to, so we had a little twistable, long bottle, whatever, and it was okay. It did the job for the first production because we had trouble finding production sites that would want to do a product that is completely natural. So they always wanted to add additives and stuff. And so we found this place and that's what they had as machinery. We had to work with that. And then eventually we found another place and they could do the Snap bottle. So we found a different bottle. We didn't want to have a Snapple bottle. We wanted to be differentiated a little bit. So we found a long bottle with the Snapple. It was 474 milliliters, so 16-ounce bottle, where it's a big iced tea. It wasn't sparkling. And then we started with that. And then we saw the price point's a bit maybe too high. We were selling it maybe around $5 because it's premium, super good for you ingredients. Always, 2 herbs, lemon juice, maple syrup, nothing else. But we saw the price point was something that did stop people. They were curious. They wanted to, but they were like, $5 for a bottle, sometimes plus tax. It makes it a lot for a drink. And so then we went down to a 300 ml bottle. And that was kind of too small. People were like, we just had to find just like the 3 bears, Goldilocks. It's like, this one's just right. And we finally landed during COVID. We were in restaurants and in yoga studios and gyms, and they all closed down. So we had time to think about what we wanted to have. We had enough data from okay, that one's too big, the price point's not good, that one's too small, and we also, with our persona, they were very environmentally, like they wanted something that
conscious.
Conscious, exactly. They wanted something that was eternally recyclable, that you can reuse, that wasn't just, drink and dump. And in Canada, we don't recycle glass super well. So we decided to go with a can. And with a can, we were like, well, sparkling would be good. I'm pretty sure. And we tried it, just simply with a soda stream in the beginning, just to see if the taste was good. And everybody was like, that's really good. So it put it up a notch even more. And then I think we found the right branding person, and I think that's it. It was the right thing. It finally was the right packaging, the right price, the right, sparkling, adding a bit of bubbles, all that stuff. Everything just aligns now, and that's how we're seeing.
So success, as you mentioned, right, is a perfect alignment of a lot of stars, right? And trying to make sure that all those stars align at a given time, right? At the same time is complicated and takes a lot of iteration, research, and findings, right? So it's really trying to go through this alignment of stars that you succeeded to align, that I would like to go more in depth with. You mentioned a lot of different things. So during this discussion, we're going to go a little bit in depth into each of those segments and trying to better understand. I would like anyone listening who wants to, start a beverage company tomorrow, or start any type of consumer product like this, to try to better understand what a recipe of success may look like, right? And obviously trying to also understand what are some of the pitfalls, some of the errors, some of the learnings.
So many.
And so
we're still making some.
Exactly. So we're going to cover all of that, and I'm very looking forward to go through all of this. But to start, I would like to go back a little bit at the beginnings and trying to understand a little bit. In order to understand the journey and the product itself, I think it's important to understand the principal actor, right? Trying to understand you, trying to understand what were your motivation, your dynamic, your story. So my first question would be, if I were talking to the 20 years old Leila, what would be her view of her future?
Wow. No, she would never have imagined this at all, for sure. And I'm so glad this project kind of chose me, and it came in perfect alignment of who I was. But at 20 years old, I was in creative arts, TV. I was at CEGEP. I was also developing customer service department, excuse me, and sales at Fruits and Passion. So they dumped me there. I was 21, 22, and they're like, okay, here's your department and take care of it. And so they sent me to trade shows. They sent me to do sales, to negotiate with people. I was always, doing sales, taking care of my team. I had a team of 4, and I had no idea what I was doing. I came from art. So I did video productions and writing and photo and video and all that stuff. That's was my diploma. So I had no idea what,
Did you feel at the time that you were more like deep inside you, more like an artist or an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I really thought I was an artist. Like that's what I gravitated to. I was always I loved movies, I love writing, I love books, I love drawing, I love painting. So that's all the stuff I love to do. But even yesterday, I just met with one of my oldest friends, and she reminded me, we started 2 companies when we were 9. So the first one, I remember that one. It was I was walking dogs. We went to the store. I made printing shop. We made business cards and posters. We got 1 client, but we kept her 3 years, so that was good. Like people, I was really tiny. I still am, but they were like, "You're gonna walk my Doberman?" I'm like, "Yeah." No problem. And then she says, yeah, but we also started a stenciling business. Like we were doing, stencils on walls, and we had like 4 or 5 clients, and we did it to even my grandmother. She kept it like for years. And I think if she would still live there, she would have kept it, So I had that fiber, but I didn't know. And then thinking back, I didn't play dolls or anything. I played business. I had a computer. I was doing DOS things, and then I was, receiving clients. I had a restaurant. I had I would play store in my grandma's pantry. She had like a walk-in. It was always, okay, would you want beans? And, pass it at the cash. I had a big cash register. I'd play that. I'd had a veterinarian. And very imaginative too. Like I'd, make tents in the desert and pretend I'm there with, anyway, and always loved animals as well. So I was like, something like that. I don't know. I had no idea. Nobody ever told me that I was a business person. This is thinking back now, when I started Healtea, that's who I was always. Even if I gravitated towards the arts, that is who I am, was always a business person. So it clicked when I started this. But at 20, I was doing customer service, very similar to what I'm doing now, though, actually. It actually trained me, what I did for Fruits and Passion, trained me for what I'm doing now. I'm doing trade shows, connecting with buyers, clients, managing a team, making sure we have processes. And so it's very similar to what I was doing now. But when I stopped doing Fruits and Passion, I had, in our family, everybody does trading. So, stock exchange, all that stuff. And they were like, you'd be good at that. I'm like, yeah, sure. Yeah, that was my first business because I was self-employed. And it was 2007. Yeah, 2007. I did it a year and a half. And then I was pregnant. And then...
did you make money out of the trading?
I did, but it was a learning curve. So it was, one day you make 10,000, one day you lose 10,000. So it's like, very yo-yo. And it was in 2008, the crash in August. And then things started to change. Before we could, talk to, it's the Royal Bank guy. He's going to do this transaction. I'm going to try to front him or whatever. But then it changed. It was algorithm, machines, mathematics. And that wasn't my strong suit. So I was like, I'm not going to start programming. And so when I, gave birth to my son, then I was like, okay, I'll take a year maternity leave. I'll see what I can do. And I love that I wasn't self-employed. I'm like, I could work sometimes. I could do it in the morning, or I could, have a part-time babysitter or something. But it was clear to me that I wanted to be a very involved stay-at-home mom kind of thing with projects, but something like that. And then the market changed so much that I wasn't sure I wanted to do that. And that's when I started to really look like, who am I? What do I love? What do I want to do after I've raised my kids or while I'm raising my kids? And I was so glad this project found me. That's really what happened. It was my neighbors, he saw me. I was very natural and saying, oh, take peppermint if your brain's hurting or if you have a headache or something, or you have trouble digesting, drink fennel. And it always worked for us as a natural family. And then he was like, yeah, but why do you do those things? And why do you think people drink kombucha? He's Italian. He's like, it doesn't taste good. And I'm like, it tastes fine, but there's caffeine inside. So I can't give it to my kids. I can't drink it at night. I'm very sensitive to caffeine. And then after a while, he came back and he's like, what do you think if we make a recipe, a ready to drink out of nettle, specifically nettle? So half a second later, I didn't even tell my husband. I was like, yeah, we're starting a business. That's it. That's exactly it. He made me try the recipe. He was, designing a few bottles and all that. And I just embarked and I was like, yes, this is it. Finally, I know what I'm doing.
So it was obvious to you at this time that it was a calling. And
it was it. That was it. That was what I was looking for this whole time. I was like so grateful. I was like, this is it. Like it's aligned with who I am, my values and nature, my skills. I think I could bring a lot through my skills. Nothing, it's so eclectic. Nothing works together, but everything I've done works with what I'm doing now, even the finance, trading, it's like money, transactions, all that stuff that you have to, take care of your cash flow all the time. You learn so many things. I wasn't good at math and now I'm fine. I'm not the best, but I can, balance a sheet. And you learn these things as there's necessities and you're like, okay, what do I need to learn now? And how can I do it better? And it's just, you learn because you have to kind of thing, like being a parent, I guess.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think that's it's a very interesting metaphor indeed, right? Because I think that entrepreneurship, like parenting, is those kind of things where before doing it, you know nothing about it, really, right? And from one day to another, you have to learn thousands of skills, and sometimes there's like there's a life depending on it when you're a parent, right? And when you're an entrepreneur, it's your company, right? And things are very fragile at the beginning. And it's interesting because it's those kind of experiences where the beginning is probably the most difficult.
Yeah.
And things improve over
Yeah.
time, usually, right? With stability, with the kids growing, or the company being more structured and extra. But it's like it's a very like a pivoting type of experiences, right?
Yeah, and if I could have told myself in the beginning, like this is where you would be today or close to, of course I imagined it, but I had no idea. I would doubt myself a lot less, right? It's that part where there's guilt, there's doubt, there's all those things in the beginning that, and those emotions never help you. Like how did guilt ever help somebody? And how did, feeling not as good, or feeling incapable, how does that help you become a business person or thrive or get to your goal? Those emotions do not help at all. So I think mindset is a big thing, especially parenthood and business and in life. Mindset is key. And I really worked on my mindset more than anything, because I remember in the beginning, everything would make me stressed. Everything would, oh my God, another problem. I don't know what I'm going to do. I had, but I forgot that I was very resourceful. I'll figure it out. I'm going to learn. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to go, I always listen to podcasts. I always have a book, or I'm reading something, or there's always a way, the answer's somewhere, and listening to yourself, your intuition maybe as well. But everything, like we've had big things happen sometimes, and we went, So now it's a muscle. Now I know that my muscle's very worked out. I know I can, if something happens, I can count on our team, on, the things that happened in the past. We'll figure it out and it's okay. So now it's easier to push forward. There's less doubt. Of course, there always is, but less guilt, less anything. It's a clear mind, clear path. And we need to do that. How do we get there? Okay, step. Oh, we're there,
What were some of those early challenges that you really remember that were like the first shock, I would say, of your experience?
There's so many, but the hardest one was finding a production site that would do us naturally. That was the hardest. Like we rented, we paid for Expo Manger Santé here in Montreal. It's our biggest natural food thing. And on the Thursday, I didn't even know the Friday was the show. I didn't even know if we were going to have our bottles. Like we've been in production. And
how much does it cost to be part of?
To be part of, it's $2,500. So it was an investment of that. And then we would have had an empty booth with nothing to sell, So we paid it. We had to pay it 4 or 5 months ahead of time when we were just an idea, and then we didn't know it. So it happened at 8 p.m. the Thursday. We got our products. We delivered it to the show, and it right away it was picked up. And even the TV show L'Épicerie, they picked us up. They did an interview, and their nutritionist said, "Oh, this is the best ready to drink there is out there." There are 2 of them, so we're like, "Oh, maybe we have something that we even better than we think." This is good. So, and then after that plant closed. So hard to find a plant, and now we were starting to get sales, but at that show I didn't know how do I sell to a grocery store? Like, how do I sell to a restaurant? Who's going to distribute us? And then you have all sorts of contact. Like, I'll distribute your product, and okay, but how does it work? And then there's margins and calculations, and then figuring out that, I'm not going to have products for all these people because they're closing down. That was like a last favor kind of thing. So I have to find a new production site. So
what's the process of looking a production site look like?
In the beginning, now I know more, but in the beginning, we were trying to figure it out, like how right co-packer, bulk, beverage. There was a lot of like websites that were product creation agencies or firms or engineers, but there was never a co-packer. But then when we worked with Syntec, their food engineers, they had a few contacts, but none of those contacts were ready to make a drink that was healthy like that, I guess. Or they always wanted to add preservatives or additives or make the process shorter, because we really infuse real plants. It's real lemon juice. It's real maple syrup, nothing fake. So you need to have the right machineries, the right mixers. Sometimes they wanted us to invest. Like one production side, they were like, fine, but give me $250,000 to buy the machinery. I'm like, we're just starting. We don't have that kind of money. Or if we do have that money, we want to invest it towards growing the brand and not being part own. And we wouldn't have been part owner. We would just have a machine in it. And if they close, and it may put us way too much at risk. So
they were both creating the mixture and putting them into bottles.
Yes, exactly. And then you have to find that kind of, can you do our recipe like we built it with our food engineers? You know, we cold infuse, we this and that. And do you have fridges? Do you have the right cap? Can you do this kind of bottle? Can you
Mm-hmm.
So it was really hard. And for
and I'm going to ask a very dumb question during the whole.
There are no dumb questions.
But so why? So given that it was both difficult to find a place to have the proper setup to build, to create the product you design, and have the capabilities to put it into bottle. Is it possible to have one place that make the mixture in batch in big quantities and transport that into another facility for
That's
the
hard.
bottling?
Yes, it can be done, but it's hard because we're certified organic. So every process, everything has to be documented and everything has to be certified organic. So if we transport, the transporter has to be certified organic. The warehouse where we warehouse, the place where we produce has to have all those certifications. So for a while there, we thought maybe we'll just open our own plant or we'll rent a space. We tried to find places that would rent, even microbreweries. They had pretty much what we needed, but then there's the problem with cross-contaminations and fermentations. You don't want ferments in your tea. It might ferment, you know? So the cleanliness, there's certifications too. If you deal with, big stores like Metro, whatever, they want, to have certain standards. So all of that was the problem. So we
doing it in-house was also problematic because of the certifications and all the other the
certifications, but also it's another business in itself. Like we would not have had enough to buy the whole machinery. We would not have had enough volume in the beginning to pay for it. So we would have had to open that business as a co-packer ourselves for other beverages or what have you. So that would have been from experience, those places, they're really busy. There's always something happening, a machinery breaking, something. So we would have spent all our time doing that and not enough time on our brand. And our whole goal was to make this a better beverage for everybody to drink. So if you're spending time, with problems at the facility and selling your product or trying to get clients to fill up your line, then you're not spending time on your machine. And I've seen a lot of co-packers start a brand and they had to drop it because they don't have enough time or resources to put it on doing that. So we decided a lot of time it came and it's still there. Please invest in our either production side or become part owners or, buy our, we're closing down, please buy it. So, but we're always like, we don't want to put all our energy or time because there's a lot of resources. It's not just money. It's your time, your energy, your focus. If your focus is, another problem here all the time and you're taken here and this is where you want to go, then you're not focused. You're not putting all the right efforts at the right place. So that was important for us.
You're right. Yeah. And we're going to talk about branding, communication and training. But so still on this production side piece, right? What does it look like? Do you give them a sheet of paper saying, here's a recipe, make it?
Yes, that's what you could do, but that's not what we do because we know that our product way is a bit different and there's really ways you have to follow because then you can have problems and we don't want. And we've tried many production sites now that we know how to do it well. So what we do is we go there to the production site, wherever it is. If we open one in the States or whatever, we'll go there, we'll check their lines, we'll be there when they do a first test run. Or
what do you check when looking at
so many things like their cleanliness, their how they, do they follow the protocols? They wash their hands, do they? But then also the taste, like are they mixing well? Does the mixing machine mix well? Does it blend in the right way? Are they putting the lemon juice, the maple syrup at the right time? Is it the right bricks and pH? Because that has to do with, how it's going to stay long enough in the can. And we have a 2-year shelf life. So that's very important. How much time it stays in pasteurization as well. That's very critical. If they put it too long, not long enough, it can change.
Are you doing like a test run first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we always do a test run first.
Before signing anything, you say, okay, prove that you are able to produce the product, right?
Exactly.
And then you are testing that and
we go there.
How long does it take from starting a conversation with one of those sites and the moment where you are able to test and
sometimes it could be really quick. It depends of them. It's really hard coming now it's the summer. So everybody wants to produce right now. So they won't have enough space or time. But sometimes they'll say, okay, we'll open up a Sunday, come on a Sunday and we'll we'll test a small run or something. We'll test your can, because sometimes it could be a problem with the can with the machine or the lid, because it clips on the can.
Yeah.
So they can have a problem with that. And we had delays just because we couldn't find a chuck, just the thing that seals, because you can't have air here. If there is air, then your product ferments, which is not unhealthy, but it's not fun to have clumps in your beverage, right? So it's like, so we have to check that. We have to check their machinery, the how quickly they can do it, how they store it after, how, so many things. And yes, they start with a recipe. We could technically, our recipe is good enough that we could just send it. They're used to it, but we always go. And most of the time we go every time they produce. So that's, for us, it's important. There's been always little issues, small things, but they'd have to have answers right away. Oh, like the bricks, because it's all natural. So the bricks is too high, or the lemon juice too acidic, or not acidic enough. So what do we do? And then their answer is like, oh, let's add additives. No, that's always our answer. We have tricks, and we'll be there to answer them. Yeah. That's more my partner's side, but I've been there too. We've done it, but he's the brains behind all that to make chemist. Sure. Yes, exactly. But also to balance the taste, because, for instance, the big soda companies, it always tastes the same, right? Yeah. It's always so us, because it's natural, it's very hard to get that perfect taste. So we have to taste to make sure it tastes like Healtea, tastes like, so there's always going to be a slight variation, but not enough to say, okay, this doesn't taste like the ginger chamomile I always drink, right?
So, are you tasting only by drinking it, or do you have a specific equipment also to?
We have old productions, we have old cans, we cross-reference, we test, make sure that the product is still good over years and all that stuff over months. So
is it like in the perfume industry where there is nose, right?
Yeah.
Their mouth?
Yeah. Well, I guess we trust we don't have special. I think maybe at some point we could have specialized people that can come and taste and say it's perfect. We rely on our gut kind of thing. And Francesco, he's a chef, so he kind of knows. He's like, something's different here, and then I'm like, oh yeah, it's true.
so on last minute you can change it a bit and say, okay, could you add these and
slightly? There's slight, because you have a nutritional fact table that you have to. You can't add a lot of maple syrup and then it becomes 10 grams of sugar. You can't do that, because you could, but then you have to change all your cans, and you're in production. This is already printed, so you can't change it just like that. So you always have to. We know that we can. Kind of play in a certain limit.
Is it scalable? Like if tomorrow you have like a plant in Asia, right? You're not going to go in Asia every time you produce.
No, it is. I think we've done that. Like we've taken that because we wanted to learn also. Yeah. Now we know what to do. And a few of the times our production site has done it alone and it's fine. And we've, tested it after and it's okay. So we trust them too at a certain point. But we would in the beginning go to Asia somewhere and, for a week or two while the first production's running, we'd be there. And, most of the time, if they have big machines, it takes a day or two and it's done. Yeah. If they have slower machines, then you stay for the week and, you help them understand and they want that too, because they don't want to make a mistake. It's a lot of money. Yes. We pay everything up front and then we sell it. Then they pay us 30 days. So sometimes there's 90 days before, and sometimes more before we're paid again. So they don't want to, sorry for the bad words, but screw up the production, because that's the only way we're going to make money. So it's not a risk we're willing to take, but we can. We have food engineers, we have recipes, we have videos, we have all sorts of things that can,
explain the process.
Exactly.
Are you providing them also the raw materials?
We buy everything ourselves.
Okay, you buy yourself all the ingredients, and then you ship those to them directly.
Yes, a lot of production sites, they can take care of that part for you too. Yeah. And I think it's starting to go that way. The production site where we are now, they're growing too rapidly, and so they're investing in all these things in teams, especially. So I think it'll be something that's going to be very helpful for us, because that's when we start a production, it's a lot of time. Yes. It takes sometimes, every day, a week or two to order this, that, this is back order. Let's go to that supplier and this stuff. So to find, especially in high seasons, it's hard sometimes, and delays are bigger, or it's like, I have time to produce you in a week. So it's like rush everything. After that, I won't have time for a month and a half. sometimes that happens. We're at a space now where we can produce, consistently every month and this much, and it's fine. But those things happened before. We're when you experience growth, you don't know, you can plan, but you have no idea. Especially, we have a lot of independent stores. It's cafes, restaurants, small grocery specialty stores, and sometimes they sell a lot more than what we initially thought. So, we've seen a 30% increase every month, but sometimes we've seen 300%. So you're not ready. You have to produce right away. And then they're like, oh, but we don't have space. And then you're like, okay, what do we do? Sometimes it's even like, let's find another production site because we need this. Like, somewhere, someone that can do us. So far, we've been good. We were able to scale with that place, but we
always try to have backups.
We have backups. We have backups not only for in case, but because we can say yes, right? If Walmart comes and they're like, we want 100,000 skids, we can do it. We've been to those sites. We've talked to the people. We know they can do it. We've seen from experience, from being there and learning so much. We know we're comfortable now with any kind of scenario.
Are your sites mainly in Asia today, or have you succeeded to find more local sites?
No, it's local. We have one in Saint-Hyacinthe and one in Collingwood, Ontario. So we usually produce in Collingwood. We ship down to Ontario and out west, and then in Saint-Hyacinthe for Quebec. Most of our volume right now is coming from Ontario. We're a lot more in the market in Ontario and out west. Out west, we launched a month and a half ago in California, and it's going well, but we have like 3-4 stores, about 30 stores, let's say, that in total. So there's a lot of interest, a lot of yeses are going to open up now, but that we'll probably have to find a production site there, because it's also good for them. They like local USA products, and also we like that our products made in Ontario, sold in Ontario, made in Quebec, sold in Quebec, and it's the same for Americans. They love made in California. I'm Californian. They love that.
And you save also in terms of transportation. It's more eco-friendly.
Exactly.
It's maybe more costly to have to put in place a whole new plant, but at the same time,
because there's minimum volumes you have to do every production, so you have the cash flow just at once. But it's better than paying $4,000 of shipping from Montreal to California. So
what was your initial batch size?
Our initial, the first batch size was small. We did maybe 3 skids of each, something like that. Now it's more around 20. And we're scaling for more than that because we know this were our projections. First of all, we need to sell a lot more, and we're increasing there's no lower months. It's always bigger months, and we have yeses coming soon, so we have to be ready for those. So have you seen a reduction of the costs with the scales? Yes. That's the whole thing. Like, if you're able, and we've reached a certain point now where we're saving. We're gonna do next month. We're gonna do another production where we're gonna save a lot more. And then there's also 4 other steps we can go to reduce our costs right now. Because in the industry, production sites are either small or huge. There's no in between. So it's like, unless these small ones grow, like the one we're using now is starting to do, they're growing, they're scaling, they're buying bigger machines so they can do more. But then their minimums you are huge. Like, they could be, 10,000 cases per flavor or something like that. And sometimes we're like, we don't want to put all our cash there. We'd rather do more often production, smaller size, but then our money's moving in both ways, money coming in, money coming in and out. If you do a big, yes, you have the economy, but especially in the States, it's crazy how cheap it is over there compared to Canada. We're trying to tell them, like, hey, even with the, it's worth it for me to pay US right now. How come? They have the same machinery, same staff, same, problems, same everything. How with the American dollar, it's costing. So we challenge them too to say, hey, do you think you can, lower it a little bit or lower the minimums so that we can give you consistent, orders every 2 weeks, every month. So we're there right now for sure.
Is there only a scale cost reduction because of the
volumes?
The volumes. Did you found other other areas of cost optimization in terms of trying to find the better suppliers?
Better suppliers for sure. Better like production volumes. The cans as well. Like if you buy truckloads of printed cans, it's way less expensive than if you digital print. Digital print is an advantage where you can do. We were testing and we changed this. Like it looks maybe the same, but we've changed the color. We've changed the we've changed the color. We've changed the logo. It was here. We're going to change again. We're going to add like powerful herbs, and that's what we're changing it all the time. So it wasn't worth it for us to do truckloads because we were testing. And like our big clients that hopefully we're going to open soon that I can't say, they said like put the organic logo that you have in the back, put it in the front. Like that makes our clients buy it 100%. So we're like, okay, we have to change that. So imagine being stuck with truckloads and then you can't change. So digital is more expensive. It's like twice more expensive, but we were able to do more tests and, reduce our risk in a way, because that's also very important to reduce the risk in your cash. But now we're ready to do truckloads and to, do big productions. So it's just another way of managing your money, basically. It's going to be a big chunk of money, but then you negotiate terms too, or warehousing. So for instance, some plants, they're okay, like you can buy a big truckload, but you can warehouse for 90 days at a free. You can pay net 30, net 60. So you have 6. So it gives me like 6 months to be able to pay. So I can sell and pay after. That helps a lot. So that's something we really look for as well. Not only cost reduction, but if I have to pay 2-3 cents more, 1 cent makes a difference in our industry. But if I have to pay 2-3 cents more, but I get those payment terms, then it's a yes for us. It's always like, important.
How much does it cost you today to make one can?
I cannot say. I'm not at liberty to say.
So how do you? So you are always in between the retailer's expectations, right? The consumer willingness to pay for a product and your costs, right? So you are always into this thin area where basically you know that a consumer will not pay I don't know, more than $5 for a can.
It's $2.99 right now. We just reduced it last
Canadian.
6 months. Canadian,
Yes.
But US too. It's $2.99 US.
Okay. So $2.99, so $3 the can, right? And the retailer will maybe take, it's like a 60%.
Depends. In beverage could be really high or low. In the States, they are more like 45-50%. Here, groceries, you could get away with 25, but we typically want to give more because we don't want no's. Like when you go to a grocery manager or someone, it's like, hey, you're going to make like this much margin on our product. We're not a yogurt or a bread where you lose money because you're just bringing people into your store. You're going to make money out of our sales, and we're going to invest in your store too. We're going to make demos. We're going to do promos in stores, displays, pyramids, whatever you guys need so that we can, attract the client. And we have nice packaging. People are, they stop. So I'm like, we have a new case pack now, and they can make big stacks, and it really attracts the eye. People love it. So we're going to be there to invest in your store. You make good margins. This is a product that keeps scaling. It keeps, once people try it, they love it. They buy it again. It's not it's $2.99. Everybody has $3 that they can, take in their pocket, and then, case packs. There's always a value added every time you buy more. And that's the secret recipe we find when you're talking to buyers, because yes, there is the margin from the store, and then there's the margin from the distributor. And then most of the time you need to have a broker or somebody that visits, because you have to have eyes. Right now in the grocery stores, they have low staff. Most of the time your shelves are empty because the staff is not able to bring it from the back, put it in the front. So you need people, eyes and ears on the road to tell you, okay, well, this store sells really well, but they're always out of stock. And then we're 1 week without our product on the shelf. If somebody comes back to buy it, where is it? They won't ask. They're just, not there. Some people do, but very rarely will they say, hey, do you have Healtea? Is it in the back? So you have to have that. So everybody takes more profit, and then there's whatever's left, because then there's your cost, there's your employees, there's your So, there's at least 75, 80% of it goes somewhere else. It's not yours.
Yes.
And so how do we make it so that we have enough profit? It's by negotiating. You have to negotiate with your suppliers. You have to negotiate with your co-packers. You have to negotiate with everybody, the broker, the distributor, everybody. If you negotiate well and it most likely it's with volume. Let's say you'll say, well, I'm expecting to make 2 million cans this year, and we're hitting the threshold. We're this, we're that, and then they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I could do something if you promise this. If you do, like, it's a lot about negotiating. So.
What have been some of your negotiating lessons over the past years?
Don't be afraid to ask. So they'll say yes more often than not, and if they say no, it's not no, a definite no. It's like there's a work around it. Just. Okay, what are your challenges? What are you looking for? What's the next step? How can I get there? What do you need? And then working with them as a partner, because it's a whole chain. And if the co-packer is angry with you, or it's not happy about how you're doing it, then that doesn't work. It doesn't work for him. It doesn't work for you. You need him. He needs you. Same thing for your suppliers. Like I'm really about relationships, and that's one of the key ones. If we break those relationships, it's not going to work out. It's going to be hard. Of course, you can move place, but that makes your business at risk because something could go wrong. Like there's a new production site that we were looking into, and they just invested in a new machinery, and they're like, yeah. And then finally, oh no, it's going to take another 3 months. See, so if we would have moved there, or we're always talking, we're always open, but because we never know if they're full, especially in the summer, and they can't produce us, we need to reduce the risk by going sometimes somewhere else. So not that we want to, of course, if they scale quicker, then we'll give them all our business. But so those are things that always put you at risk. So don't be afraid to ask, negotiate, look around, keep your eyes open. Yeah. And I tell people networking. It's not just about finding a client. It's about finding all the other partners that you have. It could be a logistics partner, and he, takes the load off your employee so that she does something else because he's an expert. He's going to take care of everything. And there could be so many problems with logistics. It's crazy. Like, for instance, at Walmart, if your skid is in the back of the truck, they'll charge you because they have to, move everything out of the truck, take your skid out, and then put everything back. They'll charge you for that. They'll charge you if you're late 1 minute at the door, if you didn't take an appointment. So you have to have a partner that's used to dealing with these guys, because if not, you're charged back a million things for no reason, just because of transport.
So every time you have to do a strong due diligence to make sure that whatever partner you're going to choose will respect all those constraints. Right?
Exactly. And that's what networking and opportunities brought us, is like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about, or this person can bring us this, or, he knows this, he knows that. And then that networking, that helps so much. Or he's a new co-packer, or he's, there's a new supplier, but they have better quality, or so it really helps. So asking, negotiating, and networking are the three.
Do you feel like often you have I don't know what's the situation of the market right now, right, or the industry, but do you feel like you have the upper end, or they have the upper end in terms of, you feel like there is more sites or more transportation companies looking for clients?
In transport especially, like I get solicited every day for transport, and I send them over because we never know, and then we're like, okay, let's compare. We built a chart, and what's your price for this example? If we take a skid from Ontario to Vancouver, how much does it? And if it's 3 skids, is it less? So we help build scenarios, but it's not only that. It's do they provide solutions? Because there's always going to be problems. Are they like, oh, but you didn't give me this? Or are they, hey, let's work together and see how we can, make this happen, so next time we all grow and this doesn't happen? Are they open? Are they willing to understand? They're willing to see our reality? All those things are key in a good partner. And then if they offload an employee so she can focus on something else, do I trust them? Have they broken this trust, so many times, 2-3 times after that, you're like, okay, well, I have to change, and then pricing is always very important for us. Yes. If you compare everybody and they offer all those same services, but then the price is lower, of course, we're going to go with lower. So it's important because, like I said, 1 cent helps in our it changes everything. Just 1 cent.
What keeps you awake at night?
Yeah.
What are you doing surprise?
I don't actually now. This is in the beginning, all the time I was like, my brain 1,000%. How can I? Now it's like, I will.
Yeah.
So it's more, if I stay awake up at night, it's really because I haven't done a good routine with my own self. So it's like I had coffee or I had wine or, I ate too much or I didn't work out or all those things. I think you have to be holistic in your person, as a business as well. But that will be why. Or I'm overly tired. Like I didn't listen. Like my body wanted to sleep right now. It was tired. And I'm like, no, it's okay. And then 3 hours later, I'm still in my bed like this. I'm not thinking of anything. Just good stuff. It's not stressful. But But of course, the thing that's always a bit stressful is like, money. Like, do I have enough? Can I pay my employees? They have babies, I can't not pay them. So it's always like, and then you're as a parent, kind of, you're going to take the hit. You don't care. It's like, I want it to work. I want there to be enough products. I want the store to be good. I want my employees to be happy. Like all those things have to. And so far we're in good balance and everything's going pretty well. So, So
talking about money and cash flow management, right? So at the beginning, you had to produce the 3 that you mentioned, right? There is probably a lot of investment into the packaging as well. Again, you have no clients. How much roughly did it cost just to produce the first batch and to be ready for this exposition?
So we were lucky to have the MAPAC help us. There was a grant. We got it was $35,000 to get like Syntec and our first production and all that stuff. And we had it half paid back. So it took, a few months before it was paid back, but it was okay. So we asked banks for a small line of credit. You kind of, and that's something we should have done more that I've, would have done differently. Let's say if I knew, it's easier to ask for money when it's a project than if you actually have sales. So if you go to banks, investors and all that stuff, and you have a project and an idea and you pitch to them and then they're interested first of all in the entrepreneur you are. So who you are, they'll like what you have to offer. First of all, that's 60% of the way there. If you're someone that's eager, figure outable, seems like he has a head on his shoulder, then they'll invest. But then it's the idea, the project, the market, your whole business plan. And we didn't do that enough. We just went all in and we started selling and that was it. And I've seen a lot of businesses succeed. But my partner said something, I think it was last week, and it wasn't interesting. And I agree with him. He said, even if we would have had $1 million in the beginning, we would have spent it on the wrong things because we didn't know. Yes. So, it was a good thing that we kind of banged against the wall all the time, and another problem, another issue, something else. And we would have sold $1 million of bottles that were not the right brand or the non-sparkling, or we would have, it wouldn't have scaled like we are. And right now we are on the X. And also 6 years ago, we were too before the trend. Like this was all new. People didn't know that this was something like you could drink better. They didn't know. So we were too ahead of the trend. Right now, I think people are more educated. They're looking for products like this. So we're really on the X because we're in with the market. The market's here. Especially in Quebec, most of the times it takes longer because they're very loyal, to their food and their customs and all that stuff. So it'll take more time for them to, that's what we've seen anyway, to change a habit. In Ontario, 5 years ago, they were like that, but now they're like, oh, yeah. And I'm slowly starting to see Quebec like that, whereas like out west, I just show them this and they're like, yes, give it to me. I want it. It's like I have no education to do. I have nothing. The market is there. So that also very, very much helps. If we would have had $1 million, we would have spent it on trying to educate and we would have lost so much. Like this same $1 million now, we know it'll make 3, 5, 10, because... And
also, as you mentioned earlier, right, you are a creative person, right? And constraints is help for the creativity and help trying to find these...
solutions.
Those solutions. So it's always good to have those limits at the beginning, right? And trying to... So it was interesting that you mentioned that it's easier to get money when things are... It's easier to sell a dream than selling numbers. Yeah, right?
Exactly. Oh, I have this much sale. Oh, just that? Well, you give you a few years and then come back to see me. That's what you get after. Yeah. So it's like when you're selling a dream, it's like we know it's going to do this. We know it's going to do that. But then once you have the money, you go ahead and you prove it. But it's hard to prove the other side because in the beginning, we didn't have that much velocity. We were a product on a shelf. We weren't maybe in the right markets. We didn't, and we had to work so hard on getting the product there. I don't know how many million demos everywhere just to try this product. And everybody was like, oh, it's so good. But then they wouldn't buy it again. And I'm like, oh, why? And then I was like, oh, price point. It would have been a lot of effort for that same $1 million, let's say.
So talking about selling a narrative, storytelling, right? So you have spent many years in the TV as a TV host. You have been into the cinema industry. So how much this experience helped you strengthen your skills of storytelling and tell stories?
I think it's really what is key. It's the key thing that helped me the most because I'm not afraid to go towards a person, towards a buyer, towards an opportunity. If someone wants to interview me or whatever, I'm like, yeah, sure, fine. I feel, in my space, I feel good. I was 5 years old. My mom just put me in front of a stage. I had to host a whole 400 people, and I was like, blah, 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 blah. And then after that, I'd go see a neighbor and, hey, what are you doing? And it was, I was always in front of people, always in front of, having to do something, say something, pitch something, or interest them in a story or comedy or whatever. So it got rid of all the fear. Yeah. Right? And that could be a big blocker because I've heard that public speaking is number one fear, and I don't understand that. Yeah. I really don't. I'm like, really? But it's because I built that muscle. And I think that's what somebody today, if you're starting from today, I was lucky I was 5, but if you're starting from today, it's just a muscle you have to build. That's all. You just put yourself in those situations, even if you're trembling and you're sweaty and you do the worst interview of your life. I've done those. I've done, like, I remember at some point I said something, it was live TV. So I was like, oh my God, what did I say? And I didn't know at the time, but I was in the tramway. I was in Vienna. So I was like sitting down, la, 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 and then all of a sudden I become sweaty. I'm like, oh, did I say that? Like, did I say that out loud? Or did I really say, oh no, shit. And then I read the comments. I'm like, oh no, I really said it. And people, social media saying stuff. And I was like, oh shit, what's going to happen? Then nothing happened. No. It's a human making a mistake. I was breastfeeding, pregnant, not sleeping, waking up at 2 a.m. to go do a show. I'm like, I can do a mistake, and then that taught me so much, but I don't care what people think either. It's like, I did my best. I showed up. I'm here because it's fun. It's a great experience. All expenses paid. I'm in Vienna. I'm enjoying life. I mean, what can I ask for more? So then you're like,
how long did you spend in Vienna?
Almost a year.
Almost a year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It was great. But then I was pregnant with my second son. So I was like, okay, what happens? Like if I can't work at the same time. And so we came back, but I was like, oh, I think I would have stayed because they brought me the passion that I have even more for natural health. Like you go to pharmacies, and especially in Vienna and Paris too. We lived a year in Paris, but the pharmacist will give you homeopathy, herbs, eat this, try that before they give you anything else. They won't give you a drug.
Yes.
And all the stores have a big organic section, or they're all organic. All the farmers market, it's like organic. And this was 2010. So they stayed with Europe. Like I'm sure you know about nettle. You've grown up with it, but here we have it.
I worked on it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it stayed in Europe. We kind of lost it here, but it's still there. So we're trying to, with Healtea, bring it back to people's culture. Like every culture in the world drinks a herb or has a tea or something that they drink. All of them, all the culture.
That's true.
So when when they tried, they're like, oh, it makes me think of something. Oh, it's my grandmother when I was sick, or it's my aunt, or oh yeah, when we had family gathering. It brings people back to this, this place of comfort.
It's true that in a lot of different culture, like it can be like a Middle East, it can be North Africa, it can be Asia, right? It's something quite common, right? For centuries now, it was the probably one of the best way to consume healthy water.
Exactly,
outside, right?
Exactly,
and so. But in North America, I feel like indeed it's one of those regions where it has been lost.
Yes, it has.
Most.
It has, especially in Quebec. I think we're Latin more. We're coffee a bit like Italy. Italy will have tea as well, but they'll have more coffee. It's more of a culture thing. So I think those countries, but the rest of Canada, they're tea drinkers. They're the Commonwealth. They have tea, and that brings them in. Even in the States, they have unsweetened tea that you can still. I love going to the States because I can ask for an unsweetened tea, and it's a cold iced tea, but it's brewed with real herbs and just water, and that's it, and on ice. And we don't have that here. But it's part of their culture too, especially in the south of United States, California. They have it too, and
Is it like a finite choice, like a final choice? Sorry, to make beverage without any caffeine. Is it like
that's our brand?
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna always stick to caffeine free because we've seen there's so much power in the herbs, but differently. We only think of caffeine because we want to be more productive. But actually, we're sensitive to caffeine, and caffeine makes you angry, depletes your minerals, makes you stressed. So when you're stressed, you think you're more productive, but you're not. You see one tree instead of seeing the full forest. So if you take, let's say, chamomile ginger, for instance, your stress is reduced, your pressure also on digestion and all that stuff. So everything's more reduced. So then when you're more calm, it's like when you want to be creative, what do? Do you go run and stress? No, you take a step back and you're calm, and then the ideas come, right? Every time I wanted to do something creative, even for the business, I sit in quiet in my room, whatever, and I just think, and it comes. Or sometimes even just going for a walk or something, the ideas come because you've taken away all the pressure and the stress. So like, for instance, peppermint dandelion, another one of our flavors, peppermint's uplifting. It's like cold water in your face. Does that wake you up? It does. You don't need caffeine. They all have effects on your health and on your body. It's just not an intense effect. It's maybe slowly over time. So if you drink it today, you might, peppermint for me, it always affects me. It's always like, I'm a little awake, but I'm not stressed. I'm not like jitters or whatever. I take one matcha in the morning, and after that, I can't take caffeine because I'll feel like I'm more stressed. I'm more anxious, sweaty, whatever. So they all have power over us, but some are milder. That's all. So, and I always joke that ginger chamomile, for instance, I gave it to my dog with the non-sparkling. she was hurting. Her belly was hurting. She couldn't lay down. And then I checked on the internet, and they were like, yeah, you can give ginger, chamomile, lemon, and maple syrup to your dog. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll give it to her. She never had it before. She chugged it down. And then 5 minutes later, she laid down. So I'm like, okay, coincidence? I'm not sure, because when I drink it, I know it helps me. Like if I feel too full, or if I feel I ate too much during the day, I'll take it at night, and my digestion goes super well. The lemon in there is good for you. The maple syrup's good for you. They're all powerful plants. So
coffee is a no-no for you.
No, I can't. I don't like it anyway.
No, but is it some? Will you discourage everyone to drink coffee? Or?
I would say if you find a good brand that's caffeine-free, I would, because I've read something that they do it the opposite. They say the opposite way. 10% of the population is not sensitive to caffeine. So that means 90% of the population is sensitive to caffeine, right? Yeah. That means there's a degree of sensitivity. Some people, it's very low. Like my sister-in-law, she's part of the 10% that it doesn't affect her. She can go right to sleep. But maybe she doesn't notice that it affects her. Maybe her dreams are more. Maybe she rests less well. Maybe she didn't notice. But we're all sensitive to caffeine. It's kind of a drug. Like you could put it in a pill and give it to someone, and their brain will react. It's in receptors in your brain that block. The caffeine goes there and blocks receptors, so you don't feel that you're tired, but you are. Everything else is there. It's just a blocker. It's not it doesn't do anything else. and
is there long-term negative effect of caffeine? Or is it?
Yeah. It accumulates. Some people, when they stop it just a day or two, they feel they're in withdrawal, like a drug, because they are. It's receptors in their brain. If you're used to every day to have it, it's your brain gets used to it, and then you can't function without it. But then when you stop, you're like, oh my God, but it's not because you don't have the caffeine. It's just because your body was aware of it. It was used to having it all the time at the same time. So ideally, if you can cut caffeine, that's the best thing. But I mean, I take it in small doses. Like matcha has caffeine, but it takes 12 hours to get. It's not a crash. You'll get, and I love the taste, but I also take blue pea powder, which is caffeine-free matcha. It's blue. It tastes a bit different, but to me, I'll have that most of the days too if I if I can, but it's hard to get caffeine-free tea, like anywhere. If you're out and about, it's hard. So I know Starbucks have matcha, but they don't have any other caffeine-free kind of latte or tea that Tim Hortons sometimes has a caffeine-free tea, or they have herbal tea. So they'll have peppermint tea, let's say. So I'll have that, but I like the black tea. So I always have it caffeine-free normally, but it's hard to.
And is thein different from caffeine?
I've heard that. I have to dig deeper there, but I've heard that it's the same thing. It's just because it comes from the tea plant instead of the coffee bean, but it's the caffeine.
It's the same molecules.
Yeah, it's the same molecule, but what happens with theine is that there's L-theanine, there's other molecules that make it not crash. You don't have the spike like in coffee and then the crash. So, and I've heard also that you can mitigate that effect. And I've tried it and it's fine. You put with the fat. If you add a fat to your coffee, let's say, it could be butter, it could be cream or something fat. A lot of people do MCT oil or coconut oil and they put it in their coffee and then the caffeine stays like more just like it'll take 10, 12 hours to get out of your body instead of...
Because the grease create bubbles and your stomach will take a little bit more time.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't have that, then you need another coffee.
Exactly. The same with alcohol. If you drink grease with alcohol, it's...
Exactly. If you, some people, I've heard they take like olive oil before and then it's, I'm good. Eating with alcohol, very good. That's another one I try to avoid as much as I can, but it's hard. But with Healtea, it's easier. Like I feel like I can have a glass of wine and then I can switch to Healtea and then I'll be fine. Like I feel like I'm drinking. I feel like I'm doing good to my body. I don't feel that I'm not with people celebrating. You feel part of the gang even though because the can's cute and people are like, oh, that's nice. And they're happy for the option too. Like most of the events that we sponsor, they're like, oh, thank God you're here. We would have just had sparkling water as an alcohol free. Now it tastes like our peppermint. I joke that it's a mojito because it's minty and it tastes like a mojito but no alcohol. So then I take that one at night and I know I'll be able to drink,
and what's your position with kombucha?
Yeah,
because kombucha has
caffeine most of the time.
Right?
Some brands don't. There's a brand I really like, but they closed and they didn't have caffeine. I like it because of the ferments, and I think it's good, but most people can't tolerate the ferments. Their belly won't allow them because most people don't have a healthy gut. So that it will make you feel uncomfortable. So you can drink one a day, and then if there's caffeine, also one a day. So our Healteas compared, there's nothing in there that'll make you feel... It's the opposite. It's help you not bloated, and there's no caffeine. So you can drink 1,000 a day. It's no worries.
Will you be open to make caffeine-free kombucha?
I think that would be great. I think that's a great alternative. And right now, the market where it's going, there's a lot like the most popular soda alternatives are Poppy and Olipop, and we see them. They're very lots of velocity, and what they put inside is prebiotics and probiotics inside. So it's like a kombucha alternative, but they don't ferment. They just add those benefits, and they're the top selling brands in the States right now because it tastes like soda, but it has a synthetic aftertaste that I don't like, that we don't have in Healtea. There's nothing synthetic. There's no stevia aftertaste either, or monk fruit. Those can have like a metallic taste. The maple syrup tastes really good. But some people are complaining that the prebiotics, probiotics are hurting their stomach a little bit. So maybe there's a dosage thing that they have to calibrate. So
because it's interesting, right? Because your product line, you are in a specific niche, right?
We created a category, basically, infusion.
So you are basically organic, caffeine-free, water-based, right? So it doesn't give you a lot of expansion area, right? Besides adding more flavors.
Yeah, well, flavors for sure, but flavors with the benefits that go with it too. That's the thing. Like a lot of companies, they do, let's say, mate, and then they add flavor. So that they can only use that one plant. We can use thousands and 10,000 plants that are caffeine-free and that have different benefits for you. It's just that it's hard for us to claim any of these things. Like we're not saying Healtea is going to heal you or whatever. We're saying, that it's something that's a better alternative, and look up the plants, look up what they do for you, because they're studied in medical literature. and they will help, And so we're with Health Canada. We're not allowed to say this is anti-inflammatory and that is, and it's okay. We don't want to be used as medicine either. We're just a nice, hydrating, healthy drink. We flavored the water instead of with synthetic ingredients with real ones. That's all. That's all that we are. But we do have that plus. It's just we're trying to educate people to say, look it up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have plan to diversify in, I don't know, like going to food as well? Or do you want to specialize in
I think beverage,
mostly?
only beverage. And there's so many things we can do in beverage. There's all sorts of, just think at the grocery store, what there's, sometimes those powder things or whatever. Yes. We could go there. We have a lot of suppliers. We're always in R&D looking to grow our line. We don't know yet what we're going to do, but for sure we're focusing on ready to drink right now with different lines, different flavors, maybe different benefits. There's some ingredients you can add that are natural and that we could claim something. So we'll see if we're going there. We're studying that right now, especially if we are able to claim, like for instance, our hibiscus mango has real mango. So there's a lot of vitamin C in that one. So we could probably claim like a source of vitamin C. So we're looking to see if we can either increase it or use it or.
Okay. So in the coming years, I could buy the Healtea powder
maybe.
Or infusion pack to
absolutely. It's less heavy to ship.
Yes.
So it would be a good idea, but we'll see. Yeah.
You've been mentored by the TIST funders, right?
Yes, Eric Schnell. I was so privileged when they told me, because I subscribed to an investor pitch and then they paired me with him and I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And he is fantastic. He's so generous and he, told us, as I would do, like, don't do these mistakes, do these mistakes and show me how you're different. And he pushed me and he like, you're not saying anything. This, what are you saying? And, he was very American, but I liked it. It was very business, and so pertinent. So it really helped. He thought he would build that brand in 5 years, but it took them 14 before they were able to sell. So he's like, think of that too. It might take 3 times more time than you think to scale, to grow. And you have to find that pocket, that differentiator. And so,
what kind of learnings did you get from this mentorship besides this one?
Well, that's going to sound pretentious of my part probably, but that he can do it. I think we're on the right track. Like, I think we can do it. Like, he and his team can do it. I think we can too. Like, because all the decisions we took and we were not unsure about, he confirmed them. He was like, we were already on the right track. And I was listening to another beverage founder this week, actually, and he was saying his way and what he was doing and how he scaled there and why he invests here and not there. And that's what we're doing too. So I'm like, okay, like, it confirmed that, we're on the right track. We're taking the right decisions with the information we get, of course, because, when you get information, you have to readjust sometimes. Then we get data, we get sales stats, we get all, finances, and then we make the decisions that go the best for a beverage. And I think it's pretty standard. Once you're in beverage and you understand those things, it was the same for Steez, it's the same for this beverage company, and it's very similar to ours. So
yeah. So let's talk data for a second, right? And I would like to better understand how you capture those metrics, those insights, and how do you leverage them? Was it something that was here from the beginning, or is it something that you developed over time?
We develop because most of the buyers will ask you for data on your market, on the Canadian market, on the specific market, on your beverage, where you're set. Who are you fighting against? Are you a tea? Are you a soda? Are you a sparkling water? What are you? So they want to have data there. But we also implemented Salesforce with our business partners, SBX Technologies. There's CPG Kings, and they were really good in helping us understand our data that's coming in and helping us use it so we can use it towards buyers, but also to make decisions internally. And that really helps because then, every day I can log in and say, okay, this is my stats right now. That's what's going on in that market. That, for instance, at Erewhon Market in California, we're top 20 beverages. And we didn't do any demos, tastings, promos, whatever. We're just a beverage in the fridge right now. And we've just launched in the States. So we're not a known brand. So we're like, this is interesting, So now we're like, okay, let's invest. And I mean, that's a good place to start in the States. That's a good, well reputable brand. we're getting the traction. So it's worth, with that data, we're able to make decisions and say, okay, let's invest in that store. Even if we're not, profitable, at least we'll have so much expenditure from that, specific store. And, we get celebrities trying our products. So like this, I can't confirm, I don't have a picture or anything, but Brad Pitt tried our product on Tuesday and bought it. So supposedly, so this is great. I'm like, yay, awesome. Yeah.
So basically, every store are sending you some of the of your product stats.
Yeah.
And is part of your strategy to have your product in a lot of different type of stores to test and almost A/B test and see what other type of stores location that works?
We do use stores as case studies, especially there's different sales channel, and that's something we learned the bad way during COVID, that if you're one specific set and it crumbles, then you have no more business. So now we learned that, going grocery, having e-commerce, having food service, having convenience, having, whatever specialty or even retail, closed stores, people are thirsty. It's an impulse buy. And you don't want to drink just water. It's boring. And bottled water now is starting to be out. So, and hopefully out completely with plastic. And then there's other things coming up. But, all those things have different data and different consumers going in and different realities. So when you're able to distill those and use them and say, hey, Costco, here's the data for this, and here, Walmart, here's the data for this, and this is what we're seeing in our brand, and this is how we're seeing the traction, and this is, so it helps. This is, let's say we invested in an ad, and this ad returned this much, and we, it helps you for sure in taking all your decisions. But not only that, like having a really clear QuickBooks, good numbers, and you can see the money coming in, coming out, and it's clean and it's clear. And, you see when people are going to pay you, you see that is key too. That's easier to advance when you have a clear accounting department.
What are your top KPIs? So key performance indicators today?
Like right now, we know we sell about 4 cans a day per store. So which is probably more, probably less. It depends what store. But in general, through all the sales channels, we know that's what we do. And we haven't invested in marketing a lot. We've done demos, events, a few. And we don't really do ads. We take care of our social media, but we don't boost them. It's really organic reach. And we've tested a few things. And we know every time we've tested ads or whatever, it's returned 10x. So 3 to 10x, sometimes it's a little lower, we adjust and it returns. So we know now we're ready. We have enough. The problem why we didn't invest before was that we didn't have enough stores to send people. Like, let's say you have a big billboard. It's like, okay, Healtea, great. But then where can I find it? And you have 3 stores. It makes no sense investing in that. But now we have enough stores that we can say, hey, find us at, IGA, some metros, some Avril, PA, we can send people. Amazon, they can find us on Amazon. So, it's easier for them to find if we do a marketing initiative. So now we're ready to launch, and it's the right time, March, April, May. It's the right before the hot season. I mean, people drink us all the time.
Yes.
People are thirsty all the time. You don't stop drinking in December, or January just because it's winter. So but we know that the volume is just easier to pull in the summer, a refreshing cold drink. It tastes great.
But marketing is one of those tricky things where it's like a little bit the chicken egg type of problem, right? Where it's... You need to pour in a lot of money upfront to have expected returns later, and again, do you need to have enough volumes to have the budget to invest, or are you betting on investing? And it's how do you navigate this risk? How at which point you're going to say, okay, now we can go a little bit more all into doing marketing and scale because we know it's going to work.
Yeah.
How do you approach this?
First, you
phase?
test. You really test. And second, we've seen from investing in the stores that it's better to pay, let's say, I don't know, $5,000 to one store or to a chain of stores to give that budget to them because you'll have a direct return. People will buy it. And if you do $5,000 for a billboard or a TV ad, I have no idea who's going to find me, where they're going to find me. Are they going to look for me? That's not the best bang for our buck. Like, that's not the right place to invest. It's all good. It's all, you get, brand awareness and people, oh yeah, look, I see Healtea, and, it's all good, but it's not right in the beginning, a place where you have to have a place where you can get a small return at least. And that's why we decided to sell online, because when we did boost or do ads or online, then it's click, 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 and it's at home, right? It's two, 3 clicks and they bought it, and it comes to their house 2 days later. So they're happy. You don't lose them. They're not lost. Like, okay, well, where can I find it? Where can I find it? So we do believe in, traditional media, like not in store and not online. We do think there is an advantage to it. We do believe that being, bombarding people to see. It used to be a consumer had to see you 5 or 7 times before they bought you. Now it's like 40 or 100 because we're bombarded by everything all the time. So we have to start doing that for sure. We're still, even though we have good success, we're still an unknown brand. The people that know us love us, and we're really grateful to all of you. Thank you so much. But we have to do that because to get to the next level so that your stores move too, you have to bring people to the stores. If you invest in a store, it's great because they're already going there, but you want, all the people around here in Montreal, you want them to go to that store. Yeah. And so you have to do other things.
So how do you focus your time, effort, and money between trying to improve your visibility, your awareness in stores and physical location versus trying to go a bit more into the digital and online purchase experience, right? Because it's 2 different strategies, right? Very. And so you mentioned that you really started with trying to have your product on shelves in stores, right? Is it something that you're going to continue to double down into, or are you looking to maybe a little bit change strategy and trying to go a little bit more online?
Right now, we've seen from our statistic that at least 40% of people that know us from the store. So that's great statistics to let us know, like, it's worth investing, like in a store.
It's also bias statistic.
60% don't.
No, but it's also because you didn't invest it so much online, right?
Exactly.
So if you invested, maybe it will be 90%, right? So
exactly. We did do test, and I think that's what the key thing is test and see if you do get a return. Are you in the right? Because it's so complicated with all the things changing all the time on social media. Yes. Am I talking to the right pocket of people? Do I need to be more specific? Is that giving a return? And that we haven't given all of that to an agency yet because we're still in our testing mode. But we know that once we give it to an agency, they'd be able to see the statistics, see what we were able to do, and then they could scale it easier.
So what does testing modes look like?
Let's say we'll give $100 a day and we'll do, let's talk to 25-year-old women that do yoga and that live in this region and, very, very specific as much as we can, loves vegan things, or, we'll really buckle down on a specific persona. And then we'll see, is that working? And then if we tweak it and we remove and we put men in there instead, and we put that same money, is that the same return? Is it more return? Is there so that when we do give it off with a bigger budget of $5,000, $10,000 to an agency, then they'll see what we've done, and they'll see because it's for any agency, that's what we've learned. For any marketing firm, they'll have a testing. Of course, they know a lot more than we do. We're just trying things, but they have to test what works as well, and they'll have a testing. But we're trying to reduce that kind of risk in investing so much money in a firm by doing a few tests and bringing that data, and so that within maybe a month and a half, we'll be up and running. It'll work, and we'll get return instead of waiting 3-6 months. We've heard, and we tested a few independents, and they were okay, and it was working, but it's not. It wasn't worth the investment at the time.
So will you consider that you are still into this phase of trying to identify your persona and trying to understand your
yes buyers? And no. Yeah, I think we pretty have it nailed down. I think it's very specific online. A persona that buys, we know. And it's not a persona that's necessarily like, a 25-year-old woman, because kids drink us. Most of the time when kids try us, they'll like, Mom, I want to have it. So the men, 90-year-olds, 5-year-olds, it's very broad, but we know the biggest bang for a buck in a way, or the person that's really looking for us is a person that has that's within certain education, certain interests, certain, age group or gender or whatever. But we've seen that it's more in the adoption curve, the adoption journey.
Yes.
Like, for instance, and I spoke a bit about that, out west, they're like, they see our product. Yes, I want it. That's it. That's what I was looking for. They're already kind of aware of what's out there. They've already tried things. They're already looking for it. They understand the products. Like if I tell them nettle, they'll be like, oh yeah, nettle, it's good for me. No. In Ontario, for example, they're kind of in hybrid in between. They're like, oh, I want something healthier. And oh, this exists. And what is it? Oh, okay, great. I love it. And they try and then they adopt it. Yeah. In Quebec, this is happening now. I see it a lot more than 6 years ago, but they're still in more education. They don't know that healthier things necessarily, well, they do, but a lot of people are very well, like I'm from Quebec. I was looking for this. So there's a lot of them too, but there's less population doing that than in out west. Out west, it's 90% of the population are looking and are doing that and are educated. And maybe it's 60% in Ontario, maybe 40% in Quebec. So if you're investing in a market, you know that if you have a message to say and it hits 90% of the population, bigger return on bigger KPI. So it's a journey of adoption.
If tomorrow I had this amazing idea, right? I want to do this specific brownie without chocolate, right? I don't know. What will be your advice to me in order to find my niche, to find my persona and
get people to try it and see who's the most receptive to buy and put it at a price where you think that person would, not because you want to sell a lot, because you want to know, is that a right value price for that person? And have people try it as much as you can. Farmers market, universities, demos of some sort or whatever, and see and stock them and see what are their thought process. Like we go to stores and we're just there and we're looking at people buy. We just look at them, like their behavior, their patterns, and they looked at a can and then they looked at the ingredients, they put it back, and then why? Is it the price or was it?
Are you asking them after that?
Sometimes we do, especially Francesco. He goes in and he's like, "I'm just curious." No, but it could be another product. It could be he's like, "Why?" I'm just curious. Like I'm in the business and I want to know, like, why didn't you buy that? Sometimes they say, there's the ingredient I didn't like, or the price was too high, or, So we stalk people. We're sorry. But we do.
So if you see an Italian guy coming to you in a store asking you why you're not buying the product, don't be afraid.
Exactly. Don't be afraid. Just say, it's fine. I'm going to buy it. You don't need to be scared.
Okay. Are you trusting people when they are testing? Because it's like anything, right?
Yeah.
People test, it's good. They want to please you, right?
Yeah.
Are you only looking at the money aspect and who's going to buy? Is it really the only indicator to see?
No, it's how it's going to keep buying. Like what's the over time after I did a demo, let's say at that store, how much Healteas did I buy? Maybe I bought 100. Base yourself on 100, and then it went down to 70, and then the week later it's down to 65, it's down to 60. That's really good.
Are you able to measure that?
We can, because with some stores, not all stores, we don't have access to
the card with the carte de points. The
exactly,
points,
but we asked the grocery manager, like, hey, we did a demo here. Can you give us your sales data? And sometimes they're open to it, sometimes no. But that really helps. We don't have access to Nielsen scan data necessarily because it's very expensive. Sometimes we do. We were able to see it when we're in certain conferences or something, and that helps. But we just go in the store and we ask and we check. And like, for instance, we know that if we do 3 or 4 demos in a store, that store would consistently buy every month, every week, all the time. So
would you say that you are more data informed than others of your competitors?
I think yes. And in the small company that we're very data informed for the scale that we are now. But at the bigger companies, they all have that. But they still struggle. Like I see it from my business partners. They work with the biggest companies of the world, and and all in, it could be alcohol or bread or whatever, and they struggle with data. Like they need, and the more we have, the better it is. The more it's live, the more it's accurate, and it's so touchy data because you can just change a little thing, and then it doesn't mean the same thing at all as what you would have expect, right? So. But it gives us the right kind of feel. And we check our sales data all the time. We ask all our distributors to, send us all the sales report. ideally every week so that we can track right away. Is it working? Is it moving? Do we need to go in and do something? Do they need help? Because that's really important.
Are you in a phase where you are still tight from a financial viewpoint? Where like
it's going to be a long time before we're not tight, because we're always reinvesting. We're expanding markets, and we're going to new markets. And every time you're going to new markets, you invest, you risk. So, and the volume and the production size and all that stuff, it's still, a workaround. And any food or beverage brand, of course, it can be profitable from day one, but it's not necessarily the way you want to build a brand. You have to invest. Like I've heard, those big energy drink companies, they're media companies more than anything. They have a product that they sell, but they sell more media than they do anything else. So, they don't really care in a way of how many products they sell unless invest in their media company, and then they can do stuff with their media. So it's
and how many stores are you today?
We're in 1,000 stores about across Canada.
1,000 stores.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a bit in the US. We're about 400 here, but it's all independents and, cafes and restaurants and dépanneurs. And sometimes they don't buy December, January because they're closed. And then we have a lot of IGAs, Metros, and all that stuff. In Ontario, we have a lot more like Sobeys, Foodland, Well.ca, Vincenzo's, Pusiteries, Healthy Planet. We have a private label as well that we do. So
10,000 stores.
1,000.
1,000 stores across Canada and California right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Are they all at more or less at the same stage in terms of sales, or do you see like stores?
Some stores
there's
are
a lot of
like,
discrepancies between.
Yeah, we didn't expect. Like we're like, oh, they bought 18 cases last week. Why? It's like we just sold it to him. Why? What's specific about that store that makes it? Sometimes it's a higher end store. People have the budget. They'll buy more than one can, so they buy 5-6 cans at a time. Because and a lot of those stores, we still sell individual cans, but we just launched a 8-pack. And for instance, right now my team is at Planted Show in Toronto, and we're only selling 8-packs. We're not selling individual. Like we've sold out almost already from yesterday. What we brought, we didn't, and it's a smaller show. We didn't expect that much traction, but everybody's buying 8-packs, and 4 8-packs, and 6 8-packs. So. That's going to change the data as well, because then we'll have to produce a lot more because we're able to sell, one purchase is 8 cans instead of 1 can, 1 person. So that we just times 8 our sales right now, which is incredible.
And so you mentioned earlier that you were selling in average 4 cans per day per store.
That was just at the individual can. Now we're selling 8-packs, which is new. We just launched a month and a half ago too. So it's going to increase a lot more.
Why do you start with the can only versus the pack?
I'm not sure. I couldn't answer that. I think in experience, also cost, because they expect a cost reduction. They're buying 8, so they want a cost reduction. But for us, it's costing us more because we have to do a packaging that we didn't have to do before. We sell 24 in a shrink tray, and that's it. But now we have to buy the pack. So it's actually costing us more, and we have to invest in printing, and we were a small team. We had trouble, now we have an internal graphic designer, and he's super busy. He can, he always has something to do. And that also helps, like having the right resources is key in-house. We don't have to pay a graphic designer $10,000 just to design something. We have him. So that helps too. There's a lot of key things, but we inquired, we asked the buyers, would you be interested in having this? And they said yes. So that's why we created it mostly too. It's because of the relationships that we have. And sometimes they don't want an 8-pack. They want something different. And we're like, yes, no, maybe we can, maybe we can't. And we try to see, because then you have, let's say, a 4-pack, a 12-pack, an 8-pack, a 24-pack, and then individuals, it becomes very hectic and you actually have just 4 SKUs or 8 because we have the non-sparkling too. So it gets crazy to manage, but it's still not that bad.
How big is your team today?
We're 6 employees and 4 partners. So we're 10.
Okay. Yeah.
We're able to manage all that. And then we have consultants. We have 15 reps on the road that are consultants. We have 5 in Ontario. one in BC, 2 in California. So all these are consultant externals. And then all the distributors have reps that also sell our products. So, I could say that there's like 100 people selling Healtea in a given day. If they decide to push Healtea, because they also have other brands, but we're very careful in taking brokers that don't have a catalog of 10,000 products that they sell 5, 6 brands, and they can take care of you for a certain time. So we're developing that way until we're able to invest in our own team, because we see the value of having our own team, someone dedicated. Ideally, you have all of it. Like you have a consultant, you have a broker, you have reps on the road, you have people on the street that are yours, and you're able to have all those, because then you're bombarded so many different ways. Your employees know the most about your product, but sometimes they don't have the relationships that a broker has. They go backyard barbecue with Costco and they're like, "Hey, pal," and your rep doesn't necessarily have that relationship. So it's like you need them, and it's like an ecosystem.
So 6 employees, 4 partners. How do you split the roles and responsibilities?
Yes, we've told them when we've hired them, we're sorry, but you're going to change roles probably 20 times in the next week. So, it's like, this is what we have now. This is what's happening. This is what you're going to do. So for instance, my graphic designer, he also does events. So he's sponsoring and he takes care, manages all the events. He's also strong, and he's able to carry the big cases and the trolleys and all that.
It was a criteria.
Yes. Okay. You have to be strong.
You have to be creative and strong.
Exactly. So he was like, "Okay, sure, I'll do it. I can do it." And I know, and I tell them, we're going to grow. You're going to be able to do and tell us what you love doing. If he prefers to do, even if he's a graphic designer, but he loves events, then, we'll be able to maybe give him we'll see how the company grows. We're like, but we're growing with you because of you. So of course we're listening to what happens. And then we have an admin person who does all the logistics and invoicing and all that. Then we have a social media marketing. She does all in stores and out stores, but we're hiring interns that help her as well, because social media is a beast in itself. In-store and out-store is 2 different things. And then you could have a content creator only. We're hiring a lot of interns there. Then we have 2 demo peoples that are event and demo. So they go in stores and they talk about our product. We're actually 7. 7 employees plus 4 partners. And then we have 1 internal sales that she is our business development. She takes care of, I can give her any account. I know I can count on her. She can talk to anybody. And then internally, as the 4 partners, it's me and Francesco, mostly, full time. But then Janine and Daryl, they have all the, strategic and investment and finances and contacts and all Salesforce and, organizing software and managing the team as well if there's something, or, taking care of we work at their shared office, so we're with their team too, and collaborative and fun parties. We make sure HR is good too, and I take care of all that's sales and marketing a little bit less. Like our team is good, like I'm just there, but more networking, marketing like this. Making the brand
more aware.
Exactly, awareness, create awareness, and sales. I do only sales events, and Francesco's more R&D and verifying everything, making sure everybody has everything, and we're on the right track in finances and budgets and banks, investors.
Did you raise money already?
Yeah. We raised with our new partners, but it's not an official raise. Like we have no or very little bank debt. We have a credit card and a small line of credit. Now we're looking for banks because we've proven our concept, the packaging, everything, it's on par. If we produce product, we're able to sell it. We're able to find markets. We're able to develop. We're able to take care of. We're able to scale to grow. So that's all done. But when you grow 300%, it's like I'm getting money back from the lower level, and now I'm going here. It's like, how do I produce enough to go here with the money I had from before? It's not possible. It's not possible. And I know we'll have profit, and I know we'll, be okay, but we need to have that initial money. So we're looking for banks right now to help us. We're talking with.
So you're looking for depth more than trying to share. So you own 100% of the company today within the partners.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you giving shares to the employees as well? Is it something?
Not right now.
No, it's not like
maybe I don't know, but we're always open. But right now, It's not, well, I know there's a way to structure it, but, because we're going to get debt, it's not very advantageous for an employee to be part of the debt, basically.
Yes, I see.
So,
No.
but from what I think, and I know I have to investigate, I'm sure there's a way to have a 2% and not be part of the debt either.
Yeah.
But I don't want to give them.
Talking a little bit about social media, and so because you mentioned that it's one of the areas that you're developing, right? Because correct me if I'm wrong, and hear my perspective, right? Basically, you are selling water, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's while your positioning is specific, it's still a commodity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the best way to differentiate yourself is really through your brands and your marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to your point earlier, right? You are a creative person. You are able to create those universe, to create this narrative, this story, right? So the branding, the marketing is at the centerpiece of your whole growth strategy, right? So and I was a little bit surprised to see that you are not more online, right? So you don't have so much Instagram followers yet.
No.
So I feel like it's an untapped potential for you, right? It's a big playground to go into where you have a lot of opportunity to shine and to get growth, right? So I was curious around your current perception and analysis of the situation. Do you feel like indeed it's something that you really have to develop? Is it too early for you because you want to continue to finalize this research and observation phase you are into? Is it something that you need to do right now because you're already 2 years late on that?
It's a little bit of all that. I can tell that I see social media as being a place where right now we're just, how can I say, just really positioning our brand, and our brand is in every picture, and it's just like pushing our brand. But I find social media is more storytelling. It should be more storytelling. It should be about what's going on, what we're doing, how we're helping, about anything, not about our product, our values, whatever. And that takes a lot of time and resource. And the place where we have the less resources is in time. So that's why we
But it's where your asset is the strongest as well.
Yes.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Compared to all your competitors, your story, your mission, your values are your biggest differentiators, right? So
absolutely.
I feel like it's what differentiates you the most, what will have from a social media viewpoint, you will be way better, way more impactful. You will resonate way more than your competitors.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
I mean,
want to do it now.
No, but it's what I believe, right? I mean, and it's the only place where you are not investing, right?
100%. 100%. And it's a lot of things, and we're trying to free me a little bit more so I can spend time there. Yeah. But it was a lot of like chicken and egg, a bit like you were saying before. Like if we do all that impact and all that sales and all that marketing and all that stuff, and we're not present, they can't find us anywhere except for online. And online is not, especially Amazon, there's a lot of costs. It's not our most profitable place. It's, we're heavy. It's a lot of logistics. It's very taxing on our employees, on our staff, on our business. So we're like, okay, we have to be in more stores. So first things first, we have to be a bit more present on the market, and then we'll be able, and we're very close to that. And probably, in the next few weeks, we're going to start pushing it more, and we're trying to already. I'm like, please, but it's also very time consuming. In the beginning, let's say when we were and it's probably because we weren't exactly on the right packaging and all that stuff, I spent a lot of time in marketing and a lot of storytelling, a lot of pictures, it took me a lot of effort. Yeah. And I didn't see the return right away. It wasn't, so the investment in time for the small team we weren't 10, 11, we were 2. Yeah. And so, I'm like, it's not worth it right now to spend all that energy and time and creative. And I loved it. Like it was my, wow, every day if I got to do that, I was so happy. But it wasn't pushing the needle enough because of how the algorithms are made too. You have to pay money in the back so that your own followers see what's going on.
And And what's your opinion or viewpoint regarding influencers?
Yeah.
And people who already have an audience, right?
Yeah.
Because
we've used a few, and it was good. It was
no good ROI in your opinion.
I think it's a bit like a recipe. I think a little bit of everything is good, and not just investing in one. Like I'll just do influencer, I'll just do social media posts and boosts and ads, and I'll just do traditional media, and I'll just do. Ideally, you have everything. That's what brings. It's a funnel. You bring people towards you in awareness, so that they come to you and they buy you, and then they. Thankfully buy you again and again. So we've had good people talk about us, very good influencers, and it's great, and it gives a following, but it makes your brand aware, but it's not enough. Where we've had the most impact is really in store, when people try us, when there's a demo.
To a point earlier, right? In stores, you are just a can on the shelf. Yeah. There is no depth, there is no stories, there is no branding.
We do it, but not to the point where we're doing it enough, where we should be doing more. And that is something we're fixing. Yeah. We're trying to get there for sure. We see the value and we love it. And so many brands started just by a TikTok post that went viral, and it just keeps going. Yeah. And we believe in that. I think it works for a lot of people, and I think it's going to work for us too. It was just a matter of putting the right pieces. It's a chess game. And we're really close to doing okay, checkmate. I think we're done. We're there now. But we still have a bit of things, a bit of where's to go to, because our investment, there's a limit to the investment you can put. Like if I put $10,000 on my social media right now as a boosted post, yes, I'll have a return, not as much as if I put $10,000 in a big pyramid in IGA where I'm going to sell for 20. There's also that. And that's kind of the reality I've seen also with talking to other food and beverage brands. Like that's really what they've seen too. If they haven't started with their own following already, or they haven't had experience in doing that, or they didn't start their company building that way, So I love looking at a brand here from Montreal. You probably know them, Midday Squares. They're building their brand completely on social media. It's like a live TV reality thing, and they're loud and they're clear, and I love that they're able to do that. But they started with 3 partners, one each of them being able to do, one in sales, one's finance, one's is social media. He was full-time doing that only. He didn't have to, for instance, like me, also sell. Well, of course he does, but his main focus was only that. If that would have been something we could have done in the beginning, we were not able to. So yes, we would have done it. And now we're building our team so we can do it. And our social media is great. We're a social media person. She's amazing. She can do quick stories and, let's do this and talk about that and interviews. And we do it, but we have to push that machine a little bit more, and it's coming soon. So yeah.
And it's super complex, honestly.
It is.
It's evolving so much. And honestly, I feel like there is it's a little bit also the end of a wave, in the sense that I think that there's been a big era of again influencers and a lot of new brands going online, and I feel like, to your point earlier about people getting too much signal, so too much brands, and being bombarded by all those ads and all those recommendations, especially on the consumable product side, right? That I feel like there is something new that is going to start. I'm not an expert, so I don't know what. I like that. But something different is going to change, right? TikTok may be banned from the US. There will be new social media coming up.
And that's a big risk. Let's say your whole company is built on TikTok and it's going to close, and it was your one source of income. That's something. That's huge. We believe in building slowly and surely, and putting the pawns in the right place, and seeing, being smart about every investment we make, and seeing the return. And I think that we have to see social media as the same way. We're doing now. We're have someone internally. We're gonna grow. We have interns that are gonna come do content creation, so we're gonna be able to do a little bit more, push our message a little bit more. We've scaled. Our new social media person has been with us for 4 months, and we got already 1,000 new followers. I mean, so it does pay, and we've seen the traction is better. But this is all organic. It's just from small initiatives that we do. And it's never been paid. Like sometimes, over Thanksgiving and Christmas, we boosted and paid a few ads, but that's really something. And she's so solicited right now that we need another full-time person to help her out to do that. And that's an investment that we need to think about. Like, are we ready to invest in a full-time person that'll do ads and or do we, trust an agency? But once we start something, we want to be all in and, maximize it. With an agency, I think it's good too. I think they can push us and help us, and maybe collaborating with, an internal person and an agency would be the best way, because I like using the term, they've seen the future. Right. Like they've been there, they've done that, they've grown a brand, they've, pushed it, they've done errors that they won't.
And they manage thousands of campaigns, and they learn a lot. Right?
Exactly. But the budget is more restricted because I can't use them, $50,000, maybe, I don't know, half is going to go to them and half is going to be to ads, where I can take the $50,000 and put it all to ads if I have someone internally. So it's just those decisions we have to really take time and sit down. We were really occupied by rebranding, pushing our product, all that stuff, having enough stores. I think we're reached or close to our target. And then that's going to be the next phase for sure. And it's going to be the most important phase. And we've seen a lot of brands, even like if I think of Amazon, they weren't profitable for the first 12 years, 15 years. They were growing, investing in marketing and all that stuff, but they really didn't push enough marketing until later on. I think it was 5 or 6 years into their business. Yes. So I think there's a similarity, even if we're not the same kind of business, to that growth pattern. And we're there now, 5, 6 years later. I think that's where we are now. Are we willing to take the risk of, investing in marketing? Yes. How much and how? Yeah. That's where we have to be.
Are you using OKRs internally, so objective and key results?
We do, but we're such a small team that we've told them to just don't worry about that.
Everyone focus on it. But at the executive level, what are some of your OKRs? Are you aiming? Are you looking at success right now? And again, right? OKRs change almost on a regular basis, but is success about number of stores, number of revenue? Is it based on, organic or specific metrics around
all that, yes. All of that, yes. But for me personally, it's when we see the return from a store. Like when we see that store bought and they're buying again, and then we did a little initiative in the store.
Retention.
And they're, retention. And they're buying again, buying more. That for me is the best KPI. That means it's
so the basket size of a store.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're measuring what the average quantity or amount that a store is purchasing, and your goal is to ensure that this number grow over time.
Yeah, absolutely. And the same for online. If they buy on our Shopify store, and then are they ordering every month consistently, or every 2 months, or what's their buying? And we're retaining them. They're still our client. We didn't lose them. Sometimes they were mistakes, sending the wrong box or didn't receive box or damaged product, and they're still with us. We're doing something good.
So let's go back 20 years in the past, right? To your microcell time, right? You were you were
attention.
Exactly, right?
You did your work.
So you were a customer success manager at the time, right? And so I will let you tell us the story of
So I started Microcell Solutions when we came back from France. I needed a job and I wanted to pay for my own things. So they accepted me and I was like, great. They put me in customer service before. We had a month training. A month or a month and a half anyway. And it was good. And then they're like, you're good with, customers and they like you. We get good comments. Would you like to be promoted to customer retention? And I'm like, what do you have to do? It's like, keep the clients happy and keep the clients in our box. And I was like, okay, great. Yeah, sure. And then I learned kind of the tricks really quickly. And, within the first week and a half, I had 100% success and they had never seen that. And I was like, well, I don't know what other people are doing. And then people were like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just saying, oh, I understand you. And, I would sympathize and understand. And what if I could do something for you? Would you be willing to listen? And then they would be yes. And I'm like, you're going to shop around. There's this going to happen. Maybe if I keep your line open for like 3 weeks or something, and then you come back and then they would, and then they'd ask for me specifically. But then what happened, I left there and I was good, but I was also very challenging in my first jobs because I was like, okay, so you're telling me I'm your best, but then sometimes it was boring. There's nothing to do. And I'm like, I can't be on wasn't really a phone. It was the flip phone, but go on the internet or play a game or go talk to somebody or do something else. I mean, it's boring. This is like, I'm just waiting for somebody to talk and I can't do anything else. And I'm in a cubicle and they're like, yeah, but that's it. I'm like, yeah, but you need to give me something else. Like, what's the next step? What do I need to do? What's going on? And then at the time, my boyfriend was still in Paris. So I was like, I'm going to take 3 weeks. I'm to go see him because he's coming back. And then, so they're like, oh, but you can't do that. I'm like, why not? I'm not asking you to pay me. I'm not, it's like, I'm just going to go 3 weeks. I'll be back. And they're like, nope. Okay, well then bye. And then that's my côté entrepreneur là. I don't like because it didn't make sense to me. I'm like, I'm your best employee, so you say, and I like my job. I'm fine with it. And then you're not giving me at least that. It's just because I want to go see my boyfriend, please. Yeah. And then at the end, like the day before I left, they were like, okay, we're gonna give it to you. I'm like, too late. You lost me. You didn't understand or were open to anything. I see who you are as a company, and I didn't like that. So I was like, that's not for me. I want somebody that believes in me and all that stuff. So I left, I came back, and I got accepted at the job at Fruits and Passion right away. And they trusted me the whole time. It was amazing. I was like, okay, well, what about this? Yes. And oh yeah, I would just put you in a department. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. No, go Leila, you can do it. And I'm like, cool. That's what I was looking for. And that kind of team and, mentorship and I would work with Guy, who's the founder. I would see him in his office and managing the business and the stress he had and his brother relationship. It was with his brother too, and with his wife, and a family business. And I would see the production side, and I was like, this is so cool, what they're building. And so I stayed there a while. I loved it. But then I was like, is this what I'm going to do all my life? Be in charge of sales and customer service and for someone else? And I was kind of, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then
just staying on this phase of your life where you started to have this experience, this expertise in customer satisfaction, right? In customer retention. And so... And it felt like it was like a natural gift.
Yeah, I guess. I didn't know it at the time, though. But it was easy for me. But
you didn't have to learn anything. No. It came naturally to you. Yeah. And so how were you able to properly communicate that to people around you, to your teams? How did you put in place processes, guideline training to make sure that the team you were supporting were able to achieve what you were doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Communication, working together. Like, I didn't want to have like cubicles like this. We had a square. I made them change the department so that we would all be together. And I would see, they would see what I was doing, and we would be all together. Hey, I heard you talk about to this guy. What's going on, and do you need help? And then, at some point there were even 2 girls that were kind of blasting another girl and by email kind of to themselves. And I saw it because we had to have access sometimes to see what was going on with a customer. It wasn't to spy on anybody. And then I was like, I had to meet them in my office. These were like 50-year-old, 60-year-old women. And I was 22. I was like, I was like, oh, what am I going to do? But I had a really good mentor who is still my friend, Tina, in the department. And she was like, you have to tell them that it's not something you condone here. That's all. It's just, you can't do that. We're a team. If there's a problem, come see me, and I'll go see something else or whatever. And I told them, it's like, you cannot do that. That is not professional. And, I expect better things from you. You're a great person. You're a team worker. If it's not working for you, just let us know, or even go see my supervisor on, and I had to manage it like that very tightly. And then, lunches and things just to keep the team close and informed. And I put a lot of processes. They had nothing when I started. I was plunged into that. It was the Guy's secretary that was taking all the orders, and she had papers everywhere. Nothing was in this, IT. Nothing was in the computer. It was faxes, and it was all over the place. And I'm like, let's just start doing an Excel sheet, and you know, putting everything there, and knowing who's the person we need to contact, their phone number, there's this and that. So it's kind of an Excel CRM, and putting all the orders in, and all the orders that came in, where they come in from. Is it email? Is it a phone call? And then the microcell, you know, because they were really structured. We had trainings and all that stuff. Really helped me organized and, you know, transfer those skills to Fruits and Passion. It was not the same at all, but it still was transferable skills. Yeah. And I've always been good with IT because my dad he had the first computer in 1982 or so. I always had computers, and he'd show me, like, I would change my DVD drive, and you know, he'd show me stuff. So it was native to me, and that was not the case at the time in the early 2000s. Not a lot of people knew. Half of the you know, they were older, they had to be trained on that. And to me, it was more like once.
So you mentioned that right now. So again, you have 6 to 7 employees. Yeah. You didn't want to bother them too much with OKR or stuff like this, right? And when is the right company size, in your opinion, for you to invest into tools, processes, guidelines, documentation? And
I think right now, we're starting to do that now, because they've had, my team has had enough visibility, and like most of them, it's going to be a year close to, one's 2 years with us, but they've had enough experience and enough failures in a way, and things happen to them that they had to figure out that they know what needs to be done for the business now, that they can do the processes, and they're starting. I'm like, I read somewhere the Toyota kind of where you know, you do a Kanban, and then you put your, you know, all the problems in each departments, and I'm having them start doing that with
Kaizen and Six Sigma.
Exactly. So that, you know, because they're the experts in their departments, I want to know what they see and what they're going through, and how can we help them. So we do that our monthly meeting. We kind of look at that
and see where they're spending time, what are the things that can be streamlined and improved.
Exactly. Would we need someone else? Would that someone else do? And how would that impact the other part of what you're doing, and improve? All the little improvements are good. Sometimes it's just a new software. Sometimes it's an investment, and it could be so minimum. Sometimes it's like, I'll just move around what you're doing and give that to the other person because it's more aligned with what they're doing, or you know, what their strengths are, and the other person then can take something else the other person's doing, and you move things around, and they're happy. There's always improvement in every way, but I think we have an experienced team enough. I trust them. And that's key. I wouldn't work with a team I don't trust. Like, I know I can send them anything, any problem, any situation, and they're really, you know, okay, let's do it. And they're like,
is your strategy to hire more young people with a lot of energy, passion, but they have everything to learn, kind of, or trying to invest more into experience?
I don't mind young or old. It's really who you are. Like, and of course, if you have a bit of experience, great. Or if you have basically the interest to do what you're telling me that we want you to do, and you're willing, of course, there's some things that are more complicated. Like, we've had other social media people that had just started, they had told us, but their way of marketing was not exactly aligned with us. And it was too much training at that time and then we found somebody that has more of our aligned vision. And she didn't have experience either, but she had the same kind of, we didn't have to, it wasn't too energy consuming, you know. So that's also something we do. We will hire slow and fire fast, as we say. So we try to make sure but we hire you for who you are, not for your skills or whatever. Most of the time they come out from school and fresh, and they have no idea what they're going to do. We say, oh, you're going to do the in-stores, all the promo calendar. What's that? And they're like, we teach them, and they're like, okay. And they, you know, because of who they are, they're, you know, receptive, curious, learning. People, then they just get the job done, and they do it well. And if there's readjustments, we do it. And if we see, that we probably need someone more of an expert to do it, or maybe she needs a training. Like our accounting person, she's not an accounting person, but she knows QuickBooks very well and all that. But we see that we should do a little bit of training with her on QuickBooks, and she'll be fine. You know, she'll be really good at doing it with that. So we're going to invest in training. And
talking about learnings, how do you learn today?
I'm always learning every day. There's something new that I'm curious by nature. I want to know everything, and I'm always with a podcast. Like, I'm doing the dishes, I have a podcast, or whatever. I'm on the road, or
which podcasts are you listening?
So many. I love Diaries of a CEO.
Still not really,
yeah. Health, like it could be something completely different, murder mysteries or whatever. Rarely, but sometimes you need that little, just to disconnect. And when I feel I'm stressed, I think that's when I need to not think about business so much, even if I love it. I'm reading the Joe King Nike book right now, so that's interesting. I'm also, how to basics. Sometimes I always reread, like how to influence people or whatever. It's like I just every time I read it or I listen a lot because I'm tired and I'm you're reading things and on the internet all the whole time. So I just listen to a podcast.
And there is some books that are interesting to reread a couple of years after because it's a different
you get nuggets.
Angles. Yes, exactly.
And you're in a different consciousness than when you read it the first time. So you learn different things that you didn't learn. You weren't ready to listen to before.
Yes. Yeah. So I know that as a side gig in a side you are doing coaching, right?
Yeah.
So do you have a coach yourself?
I did, and now no, but I just got part of a program where I am, and I always have little mentors that I can connect with. That if I have a question, and they're great, so I'm like, hey, you want to go for lunch? And they're like, yes. And so we connect like that.
Some of those topics today that you like to be coached?
Like right now, we had a really great Expo West show in California, and it's like beyond our expectations. So now it's like, what's next? Like I've said before, you've seen the future. Can I ask you a few questions? Like, how do we scale from here to there so quickly in maybe the next months? What do we invest in first? Like, do I need a logistics department instead of a person? Do I need a marketing department instead of a person? Is that where I invest first, or do I invest here, or do I, what have you seen?
So trying to set up your international expansion, and trying to understand how to maybe duplicate some roles to have some local specificities versus trying to leverage and continue to centralize in Montreal or in Canada what you know and trying to have specific people there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we have an opportunity with Europe right now in Spain, and do we go for it, or is that too? Yeah. But it's a really good account, and it's an account that's interesting, that it's worth it in itself. Just even if we don't invest anywhere else and we're not anywhere else. So, seeing those things and what have worked for them and what didn't work for them when they've done that before. So they've seen the future, and we want to tap in. And it's not going to be the same for us. Healtea is its own thing. We're our own people. We've seen things that they haven't seen because they weren't in our company either, but you listen. And sometimes I get the completely opposite, they'll say, oh, you should do this, or you shouldn't do this, or like, be strong in your own market. Or the other ones are like, no, expand, because we're in a different era now, because now, we're international. It's a one world kind of place now. So it's important to grow and grow fast and seize all the opportunities. So you're like, okay, how can we hybridize that and make it for Healtea the best way? So I think information is key. Whenever I have trouble making any decision, it's because I'm missing information. It's always that. And for all of us, it's the same. It's like, okay, why is it so hard to make? It's because I'm not knowing something. What is it I don't know? You can't know what you don't know. So for instance, we didn't know that bringing a skid to the show in California from one level to the other would be $3,000 US. We didn't know that. We did, and it was like it was on the website, but click. That's our inexperience. Normally, it's $100 in all and it's the same company in Canada. We're at a show right now. It was $100, same company, and there it's $3,000 US. So we were like, oh, okay.
So it was less expensive to send your designer, the graphic designer, to there. And say, okay, you are going to
exactly. So we can't know what we don't know, but we try to figure it out and manage it. And once we do know, and then make the best decision from there. And then I've heard something, and I think that really helped me get unstuck, because I'm a Libra. I don't know. I'm not very into horoscope. I'm a Gemini, but my ascendant is Libra. So I have trouble making decisions sometimes, and it's like, this, but that, or nah, da, da. So there's a guy, I don't remember his name, but he was in the army, and for 12 years they were working on a project in the USA, and they were like doing this or that or this and that, and he comes in fresh, he's new, in charge of the department, and he's like, okay, we'll do that. And then everybody was like, well, and how do you know? Like, we've been back and forth. He's like, it was more costly not to make the decision. That's it. We've been stuck there for 12 years. How much money did we spend? Let's just go for a decision, see, and then you get feedback, and then we'll readjust. That's all. Just making the decisions.
Not making a decision. Excuse me. not making a decision is also making a decision. So
Yeah,
that
exactly.
sometimes not doing things is good as well,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You don't
Sometimes
have
it
to
is
choose
the
between A
decision.
and B,
Yeah, we're like we were not able to get the information. We don't know what's going to happen, so let's just wait and see.
Let's move on. Yeah.
Yeah, that is also something that happens a lot because we're like, oh, that's a good thing we waited because let's see what happened.
Yeah. And sometimes we feel like we have to choose between two things, and sometimes people don't feel like that. You don't have to choose sometimes.
No, exactly.
You can just ignore or wait. To your point, right? So
that's absolutely. I've seen that happen a lot. There's no perfect recipe, and there's just like moving forward. Sometimes you feel like you're going backwards, but there's a small step. You learned something.
Yes.
You made a mistake. It's not a mistake. It's you either win or you learn, and we always learn. So
is there a risk in front of you for Healtea not to exist, or do you feel like?
Of course, all the time, every second. Yeah.
What are the biggest risks that may
investing in the wrong place? Could be a whole recall or something. That hasn't happened, and we test every batch, and we're very meticulous, and we have great people, but you never know. Or a big competitor that's more funded, bigger, stronger, faster.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing we always talk about at our meetings.
And how do you get prepared? Because we didn't talk too much about the competitive landscape, right? But your position is not it's hard to defend, right? If Perrier, San Pellegrino, or all of those big ones, right? Decide tomorrow to do like an organic product. They have like natural product, which is not organic, but I mean, they're not. If tomorrow there is someone internally that say, "Hey, there's this growing market, right? That you saw earlier, it made more time for them." Say, "There's this new market around trying to have exactly what you're saying." Or there's this small product, Healtea, that is growing big in North America." Brad Pitt drank it last week, right? Maybe we should invest into it, right?
Yeah. A few things there, many things there that, and I hope I'm going to remember everything I wanted to tell. But first thing is, if there's a competition, there's a market, there's a need. And those big companies are soulless. They don't have much of a story to tell. They're owned by billionaires that we don't know who. It's another corporation. We have a soul. We're a family. We all have kids. We're in it for the right reasons. We're going to always do all the decisions so that, I always joke, I would give my kids intravenously this product. Like I would, without it, this is not what you can have as a trust for those big multinationals necessarily. So that for me is a big thing. How our values, and as you said before, marketing that will be key because we're different. They won't be able to do that. They'll probably be able to push a product faster, but they so many times I've seen them try to do that and they failed because they're missing that key ingredient, which we have, that key personability that, my mission is to tell everybody that, hey, you can do it too. Stop waiting. Just do it. You have an idea. Just try something, and if I can do it, you guys can do it too. And I'm not special. I'm not a superhuman, whatever. So that, I think, is one of the ingredients. The other thing, it's very expensive for a multinational to launch a product. Just launching a new product is millions and millions of dollars just before they actually launch a product. We've launched a product at compared to them, very, very small budget. And that's very interesting for them. And I know this because we were approached. So
That was my next question.
So, they were like, wow, you've been there, and we have proof of concept, and we have a market, and we have consumers, and we have stores, and we have repeat customers, and they start a product. It costs them millions of dollars. They have none of that yet. They're only relying on data and on, who's their analytics are going to maybe think it's going to be good. So there's a lot of value for them to, first of all, buy smaller companies because of those two key things of, where they have trust around them. They have, belief. The company believes they want the success. We've seen a gap in the market, and yes, we're different than everybody else. We fixed all the, I'm going to sound pretentious again, but we fixed all the beverage problems that were out there with our product. All of them. So soda, too sweet, synthetic, not good for you, no benefits. Sparkling water, no benefits. Synthetic fragrances, perfumes, not high quality water. Then we have kombucha, fermented caffeine, coffee, tea, caffeine. All of it has problems. They didn't have the taste. They didn't have. Of course, there'll be the odd person that won't like our product, but I've never seen it so far. I've myself personally had hundreds of thousands of people try it in front of me. Every weekend, we're doing that every day. We're 35 people or 1,000 people are trying it in Toronto right now. And people are buying. I have people sending me pictures like, your booth is so busy. And so what do we have then? You know, and in the beginning, you said people are just nice. They're saying it's good, you know, kind of thing. I had that feeling too. It's like, people are really nice. They're just, and it wasn't selling. But I'm like, it's not possible that 100, 200,000 people that I've personally, they're not just nice. Like I have.
Welcome to Canada.
No, but it's not possible. Well, in the States, it's the same. Like I wanted to change the name. I was joking, the name of my brand to Oh Wow in California, because everybody was trying. It was like, oh wow. Oh wow! Oh wow! So there's something there, right? There's.
California is like Canada. Everyone's
very nice.
Super polite.
Go
in New York, or in Paris.
Exactly.
Great to see.
Yeah, a lot of Europeans love it. Like I know if I have a European person in front of me, they'll buy it because there's something there. There's that culture thing, that storytelling, that. You know, that, it's comforting to me. It's and it feels good, and it's guilt-free, and it's caffeine-free, and it's not too much sugar. And even sugar, it's not even considered sugar, the maple syrup, to most Americans. It's like, oh, you don't even have sugar in here. Like, yes, I have maple syrup. Like that's a plant. You know, they're super like open and receptive, and it's completely natural. There's no synthetic anything. There's no aftertaste. There's no like all those big soda alternatives that are coming out. They taste fake.
But so going back to your 2 points, right? Yeah. So the first one was, we have a brand, we have a story that they will never have, right? And your second point was, it's too expensive for them to try a new product. So we are going to go to this one just after. But to the first point, it was a little bit my point earlier, right? And a little bit my concern, right? That it's indeed what is your biggest differentiator, but no one knows you, right? You have
not enough, very much not enough. We're like at 1%.
Yeah, I mean, you have if my counts are correct, right? You have 4 cans a day, so it's basically 12,000. It's
4,000.
Yeah, but it's 12. Yeah, it's 12,000 can per month almost, right?
Well, 4,000 a day, because we're in 1,000 stores, 4 cans a day per store. 4,000 cans a day.
Yes, a day. Yeah. But
so times 30. 4,000 times 30. 4 times 3, 70,000.
70,000, right? So, you're still like very small, right? And if tomorrow they come, they will cast a shadow on you so very easily, right? Even though so it's. Is it? Sorry.
It's fine. Is it? I like your hard questions.
But is it a bit naive to consider that you are protected just by your brand and your story?
I think that's our biggest superpower, to be naive. Because if you'd look at everything, then I wouldn't have started anything. There was already enough beverages out there. There's enough everything out there. Everything already exists, like especially nowadays with all the technology. We know in 5 seconds what's happening in China, and so I think you kind of have to have that kind of veil around you and keep pushing and believe in your mission and your product so much. And I also know there's competition to every competition. There's 1,000 competitions. Like how many Coca-Cola hybrids are there? And they're the first brand. They're still the strongest. Even consistently, Pepsi tastes better. Like in all the studies, people choose Pepsi over Coke all the time. But Coke's the most, loved and continuous. Like it's the original. But there's club soda. There's so many things like private labels and imitations, and it's consistently.
But you see, it's interesting what you are saying, right? That Pepsi have always proven to be tastier to Coca-Cola, but Coca-Cola had a stronger brand, right? Your product may be tastier, may be better for the else, but San Pellegrino, Perrier have a bigger brand. So how do you make sure that you become the Coca-Cola of tomorrow and not the Pepsi of tomorrow?
To your point, we're going to have to invest a lot in marketing. Of course. That's something. But we've also seen that part grow organically. It's like we haven't had to invest that much because in what we have it solidly.
Yeah,
and it's ours. But the next step now is like, you can't just grow organically. You'll reach maybe 5 million in sales, and then it'll.
I mean, you found this market fit, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you proved your hypothesis.
Yeah.
You proved that your product was accepted by an audience, that you had this wow factor that you mentioned, right? Now it's like bridging the gap, right? Where now it's how to scale, how to go to the next phase. Yeah. And it's where 90% of the company. So it's a very exciting and interesting phase you're
and I can't wait.
Right?
I can't wait to see that next step. And maybe that is like I'm looking at everything else, and maybe that is going. All of my data is going to tell me we do have to invest in one place and one place only, and it's marketing. Maybe that's where we're studying all that right now. We are looking at all those. Possibilities.
Or find the right partner, or find.
Maybe it's that. Maybe it's somebody that's really good at marketing and whatever. Like I know Flow Water. That's how they scaled. They got Gwyneth Paltrow to become a partner, and then history from there. And then they got Shawn Mendes, and they got maybe that's something that's would be interesting for us to have some spokesperson. Media person that's aligned with our values, but there's always a risk in that too, because you hear so many things with celebrities like, oh, he was a drug addict, or it's like, oh, do I want that for my brand?
But now he's healthy, he recovered.
Exactly. So there's a risk there, but we're open, of course, to those things. I think that is the biggest key thing that has been lacking in our recipe. And I know we have everything there. It's the idea, the story, everything's good. It's just we need to find a way to push it. And, we're very much outside the box. We could do crazy stunt things, and, maybe we want to go that route first. So we really have to sit down and analyze that part for sure.
So going back to the second point, which was the acquisition part, right? So what is your position today to being acquired?
We're not interested right now. Of course, we're always listening. We're never close to anything, and that's who we are as people. I think you always have to listen. But we have so much that we want to learn still from this experience that we want to reach another level. We have so much we want to do. We want to try things. We want to see how we can, make it reach that certain levels, because we know we can do it from what we've seen, the experience, the data, we can reach it at least there, and then start talking, because it's also not just about the money. It's about a strategic partner that will help you really scale the next level. Like if they have distribution internationally and they can be in all the stores in 5 minutes, that's interesting for us. That means, it'll be easier when we do marketing and all that stuff, that we'll be able to have velocity or have traction from what we're doing, right? The activations we're doing. So,
okay. So, but everyone has a price point, right?
Oh, of course. Of course. Of course. That's it. But it's still like, I'd probably have a contract that I'm going to be still at the head for sure. I wouldn't stop.
Yeah, and continue to try to drive this this vision.
And whatever I can help, I don't know. And it's a hard, and it's not about, I sometimes I compare it to being a parent. Like I wouldn't sell my babies. I'm able to sell this. I wouldn't be. It would be hard also, because I've seen it happen. For example, to Honest Tea. I don't know if you know them. They were a big company in the States. Coca-Cola bought them. They closed the shop. Like they just closed it down, and
a lot of acquisition are just here to kill the competition.
Yeah, and there was nobody championing the brand. Like for a long time, he stayed. The founder stayed for 10 years, I think, after Coke bought, and then it just, he left on. Like after 25 years, he was like, okay, I'll take my retirement now. I think I'm good, and I brought it to where I wanted to, and it's good. And then when he left, nobody was championing internally in those big machineries to help give love to that brand. And that's how it failed. That's just because nobody was believing in the brand as much as he did. And it worked really well when he was there. It was always increasing, constant. And as soon as he left, it was dead. So there's a lot in that, but then I'm like, okay, well, what value? I haven't managed big corporations like that. Why would they want to keep me in a way? But I think that's for that purpose. It's like when you believe in that project so much, you've seen it from the zero infancy to, you're going to see every step of the way. You're the history book. So you have a lot of value just by knowing everything that's happened and how it's in your DNA now. So just that part, I think you're valuable enough.
Talking about DNA, is it part of your vision or your ambition to have like intentional business, 5,000 employees?
I have no problem with that. Of course, I'd love it. It's for me, it's the natural evolution of it, and you want to give the beast the whole fire to go there. I think I'd find my spot in there. I don't necessarily want to manage everything and be, I think I like being hands-on. I like being with the team. I like being involved in projects and, being there on the floor and knowing what's going on. And I love networking. I love meeting people. I like talking to people. So I wouldn't just be the manager, and overseeing everything. I'd be hands-on for sure. So.
And do you think that reaching such size may compromise some of your values or some of
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Yes, I've heard some brands, they'd have to do that. Even over COVID, they'd have to add ingredients that they didn't want to in their product before. Yeah. We didn't do that. We decided not to go there. It was a harder route, but hopefully that wouldn't happen. I don't know if I can, but that would be one of my prerequisite. If I keep working there, this is what's going to happen. We're not going to compromise on ingredients and taste and values and caffeine and whatnot. It's not something that I want to work for. It's not going to be aligned. I'm not going to be my best self anymore because it's not going to be aligned with what I believe.
So would you prefer to stay a family-sized type of business and keep your values strong rather than signing a huge deal,
It's a good question. I don't know. In the sense absolutely, I'd like to keep it a strong family type business where we sell enough, to see it rolling and succeed and all that stuff. But I also believe that what does Healtea need? Not me, what does Healtea need? And Healtea, I think, has a purpose to exist in this life. And am I cutting the wind? If I don't want that for it, I think it deserves to be everywhere. I think everybody deserves to drink better and drink healthy and drink without guilt and drink all the time and feel that they're doing something to their body.
But at the same time, if tomorrow there is a similar product, a copycat, right, that found a way to have similar benefits, similar extra, but for some reason they cracked the code and were able to do it 100 times faster, bigger, cheaper, whatever, right, with the same quality. Isn't part of yes, the product will be there, right? Not the same brand, but for the benefits for the customer will be there. Yeah. But more selfishly, is it part of the game in a way for you to have this experience, to have this challenge, right? Because from what I feel from you, that you are a fighter, right? You are competitive. You want to be challenged, right? To your
Absolutely.
point, you want to.
That's how you grow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So. How at some point, if you feel like your desire to be challenged, your desire to be competitive, your desire to win, your desire to conquer, may conflict by the restriction of being organic, to be small.
Yeah, it's very costly to be too small.
Yes, exactly. Right. So again, because right now, from my back of the napkin, you're making like 100K per month or something like this, right? So. And with 7 employees, you are probably not even profitable today, right? So probably you are not paying yourself. And you have a family, you have 3 kids. So you have a great product, you have a great brand, you build a great team. But right now, it's still not sustainable, right?
Yeah. Being small is too costly to sustain.
And having values is also very costly, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know how to ask this question in a smart way, but it's, you see, you have it's what I feel is always the challenge with products that are investing into values. And again, it's amazing what honestly, I could have not done it. And it's congrats for everything you have done, right? And I mean it. And I really believe that there's very exciting next step. But my point being that those products that are so much based on those values, right? Of those core values, of those human-focused values, right? Are starting strong because of this, right? But it's like a good accelerator to quickly differentiate yourself.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's over time, it become a burden to scale. And I feel like at some point there is like a pivotal time where the company need to decide where either they survive and grow and compromise on early statement, and yes, they will lose some early fan, but they will reach out to 200 more people, right? And instead of selling 4 cans, you will sell thousands, millions of cans per day, right? And what you are going to sell them will be still better than Coca-Cola and other product out there. So at the end, you will bring still a better product in the markets to a larger, your impact will be better by selling something less than what you have, but to a bigger population than selling something that is very, very qualitative and really represent but to a smaller audience.
Yeah.
And then is, okay, do I want to focus on quality over impact? And how do I balance the both? I feel it's a
no, absolutely.
phase.
And I know what you're saying. Like, absolutely, there's going to be a place where, and as I've said, maybe if I stick to all those values, I'm going to cut the wind under Healtea's, and it needs that to grow. It needs to scale up. It needs to be in the hands of a bigger person or a bigger company or whatever. So, I'm ready for all those challenges and those decisions that we'll have to make eventually, and it might come sooner than we think. Of course, I'm not in the position right now to say like I'm missing information. So, I don't want to cut on my values. I don't want to cut on the recipes, but can we play with that? Can we develop something that'll keep it natural, but also will, and we're already looking at that. Is it adding an ingredient that will be able to claim something that will make it more good for something specific, and then that's what will connect with more people. And then it's not perfect for me. Like, I don't want it to have some supplements inside. Will I be able to give it to my kids? Maybe not. But, so it's all those things that you're like, okay, what does it need? What does the company need to scale? What does the product need to scale and to exist and to continue and to persist? So sometimes, yes, you do have to make those tough decisions of what do we do? Like, do we add preservatives inside? But I don't think so. In a way, our brand is built because of those differences, and that's what makes us the most different. It's all the clean ingredients, the clean label, the taste that's fresh, So after that, if we just become a brand and there's not that anymore, that's when we ask our questions like, how are we really different? With all the other products out there, all the other beverages, like we've seen. At Expo West, I don't know if you've been to the Congress Center here in Montreal or to an expo. Let's say the car expo, it's like that times 8. And that's all food, all beverages, but we consistently in every one of them, we saw something that they were not, there was always something. So the taste, the ingredients, the something. So then it would be a completely different brand. So what would be the value? What would be the added, then it would be only branding, I guess, only the storytelling and only what we stand for and what missions and what,
like
foundations. Exactly. So, that's what they're selling. They're selling the dream of, Christmas Santa Claus and, for kids, actually, they're talking to kids basically. But their product is consistently the same. There's a bit of innovation sometimes, but most of the time I see it leave. And they acquire other brands and they grow those brands instead. So because they've seen they can maximize that in a certain way because they know they fit there. It's a bit like McDonald's. They're used to being seen as the bad food, chain. Yeah, like, oh, I'm not going to eat McDonald's every day. Like people say it as a thing now. It's not, and it's not because we want, McDonald's has salad. You could go and eat salad and drink water. It's good food too. You can make those choices over there. But yeah, it's just not being put into those categories and consistently growing your product with value, with the story. I think that's where we're going to wind up having something that's really different. And ideally, somebody will want to invest in and make it grow somewhere else to where we're able to grow it right now.
So picture Leila in 20 years. She's at the head of a multinational with 5,000 employees.
Yeah, wow.
She's super successful. She's selling millions of cans every month. What will you tell her in the years? Don't forget.
Don't forget. Yeah, it would be that. Don't forget why you started this. Yeah. Don't forget who you are. Don't forget why you started it. It still has to be. I think there's a way. I'm a naive person maybe, but I believe that there is so much value in, like, I can have it all. I always think that, like, they're like, oh, have kids and have a family and a husband and friends and a life and work out. I'm like, I think it's possible. And I think it's the right mindset and the right kind of information that makes it possible. Nothing's perfect. Like some weeks you work out, some weeks you don't. Some weeks you eat super well, some weeks you don't. But I think all that has kind of a value, kind of a, you can't lose all that and you can have it all. And that's would be that, like, yes, I can be in 20 years, 5,000 people and not have to compensate on. I think it is possible. I don't see why not. Why? Like, why would there be a reason to cut somewhere and not be human and not be, personable and not want to speak to people and not want to, I don't know what it looks like and really, but I know we'll figure it out when we're there. And I'm still going to be me and the company's still, to me, going to have good values. It's not going to be exactly the same as it is now, but maybe added supplements inside and I'll be okay with that, but it'll be something that's good for people. That's what's the most important part. So.
Thanks a lot, Leila.
It's finished. I would have continued.
Me too, for hours.
But it's hot in here.
If people listening are, I don't know, a supplier, retailer, an influencer, whoever, what's the best way to reach out to you and
LinkedIn is always the best. I mean, I'm there all the time. I talk to people there all the time. I'm waiting for buyers there all the time. So I'm there most of the time. I'm trying to be better at every day to be there. That would be the best. If not, Leila at thehealtea.com. As simply as that. And
perfect. Yeah, I will put the link in your email address in the description.
Perfect. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks a lot.
Well, thank you. That was fantastic.
Same here.
Thanks.
If you are still here, it means that you love this discussion. Please subscribe, share around you, and see you next time.